God.
Hang on. I may be saying that sarcastically, but in the same state, two major stories. One, Broncos related. I'll get to that second.
Okay.
But first, Dylan Cease takes the mound for the Padres and does what no pitcher has ever done through 7 innings.
By the way, this is actually a three-peat because the Nuggets last night.
Oh, good point.
Oh, my God.
Well, technically, that was a good story. I'm focusing on the two negative ones first.
Got you.
In the great state of Denver, 2 things happen where fans are going to collectively go, no. I mean, but at least we got the Nuggets. So, yeah, the Nuggets do have a 2-game lead over the Lakers. That was a close one last night, but eke by to take a 2-game lead in the opening round of the Western Conference playoffs. But Dylan Cease, man, he was dealing 7 innings pitched, and he's the first pitcher ever to go that long with 1 or less hits in a game. It's never happened before at Coors Field. So that's impressive.
Well, there's something else to that. Also 0 walks. Because there's been a no-hitter at Coors Field before, but they had like 4 walks in the no-hitter.
Yeah, no walks, 1 or less hits. Unbelievable performance by Cease, who continues to amaze.
He's the ace, man.
And then, out of the NFL.
Oh, God.
Zach Wilson traded to the Denver Broncos.
Okay.
Woo!
I mean, that's all we're going to talk about. I mean, that's it for today.
Problem solved.
Denver fans, I cry with you. What the hell is going on?
You want to know what your quarterback room is right now?
Okay, hang on. Let me guess.
Go ahead.
Zach Wilson.
3 names.
Okay, Zach Wilson. Trevor Siemian. Nope. Okay, but that felt right. I'm gonna keep him.
Used to be.
And Johnny Manziel.
No,
God, that would almost sound better.
Zach Wilson, Jarrett Stidham, and Ben DiNucci.
Holy mother of pearl.
Yeah.
Is that the worst quarterback room in NFL history?
Well, maybe not in the history, but I will say this. It's going to be a contender if that's where it stays.
Good God. What worries me is now as a Denver fan, what are they going to do in the draft? Do they feel like
problem solved.
They fixed it? Yeah, we did it.
Dude, what are they going to do in the draft? Well, not quarterback.
Well, did you see Zach Wilson's mom put Denver flags everywhere? They were all in Denver unis.
I love that.
Okay.
I do love the support he gets at home. I don't know if there's a weird or healthy relationship with his mom, but good for them. Celebrate, a renewed opportunity, and closer to home. He grew up in Utah. So good all around for the Wilson clan. The problem is it good for the Broncos?
Well, the good part about this is in my mind as they were sitting around the situation room trying to figure out how they were going to bring Zach Wilson over. Most of the talk was like, so his mom will sit right here if he becomes a Bronco.
Yeah. It was just John Elway just scratching his giant forehead and then just like drying off his big old smile, just licking the enamel on the fronts. And he's just like, where are they going to sit?
Yeah,
that's the big question here.
Right below this press box.
So here's the deal. We'll get into this a little bit more as the draft is literally just hours away at this point. And the curiosity is, what do they do at 12 now that they have Zach Wilson? Does it change the plan or the calculus at all? Meanwhile, same state, Colorado, home of the Rockies, who, well, I'm not talking about the mountains. Those are majestic Rockies. The Rockies on the baseball field, not quite as majestic.
They're terrible. And you can see how terrible they were when you watched that game yesterday. And the Padres didn't exactly play well offensively, but Dylan Cease was masterful once again. That slider he has just leaves hitters absolutely confused. And he was in the zone the entire time yesterday. So the one complaint you could have about Dylan Cease with his first few starts, even though a lot of them have been wins, is that he hasn't been all that consistent in throwing strikes. Yesterday, he was all over the strike zone. Colorado was swinging early. He was at 90 pitches in the 7th inning when he left the game, and it was like, great job, Dylan. And he was still the pitcher of record when the Padres scored the go-ahead run with Tyler Wade pinch hitting and scoring a run. So that is, Dylan Cease gets a win, one of the best starts in the history of Coors Field, and he is undoubtedly, at this point, the Padres ace.
Yeah, I mean, Padres win that Soto trade. That's pretty much a done deal now.
Well,
the end. Silence.
I mean,
I think we all collectively went, maybe he's right.
See, Padre fans are making themselves feel better by saying the Juan Soto trade. You have to consider it as a trade for Dylan Cease, but the two weren't all that involved with each other.
Yeah, no, and understandably, you have so much distance between, and Dylan Cease sort of felt like a snap reaction to how things were going in the season, the on ramp to the season. Although, who knows? Maybe that was the plan all along. Maybe AJ Preller kind of had hopes beyond hope that there would be a little bit more easing of the sheets in terms of payroll. Maybe he would have been given the green light to go after a different free agent pitcher, wasn't allowed to, and so was forced to, add a couple more prospects to the list of trade candidates and make something happen before the season got underway. And again, credit where credit's due. Even though the winning hasn't been there for AJ Preller, he has done a nice job in some spots with some trades. And this was one of those need to have it go right type of trades. And he really nailed it so far with Dylan Cease. Now, things regress to the mean. We saw Cease have an unbelievable season 2 seasons ago, and then he kind of had not so good of a season the follow-up last year. Is it going to be somewhere in between, or is he actually that dude from 2022 that we saw? We don't know, but so far early returns on this trade are Dylan Cease is the stopper in this rotation. He's the best pitcher on this entire roster.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, I mean, thank goodness, because Musgrove's been kind of a herky-jerky start. Same with Darvish, and now with the neck twinge, it hasn't been the smoothest of rides with the aging 38-year-old pitcher either.
Another big question mark going into the season was the closer position. And so far this year, Suarez has been incredible at it. Yep. I think to a point until yesterday, he had thrown 60 straight fastballs, which that's just saying, hey, I'm going to throw hard. Good luck hitting it. Mm-hmm. And so far, nobody's really been able to hit it. Yesterday, threw a changeup. The very next pitch, he gives up a hit. And so Suarez found himself in actually trouble yesterday. It was a 1st and 3rd situation, 1 out. And credit to him, he gets the double play. And Hassan Kim and Xander Bogaerts make an excellent turn from the, what is that, a 6-3, 6-4-3 double play, whatever it is.
Yep.
But it was an incredible turn there up the middle. And it's like the defense is matching up with the pitching, and that's all good, especially at a Coors Field. The offense still leaves a little bit to desired, and especially last night.
Let's get there because, okay, overall, the numbers aren't terrible, but it just feels like they lurch at times.
And relying on a guy named Tyler Wade to save the game, which credit to him, he did. He saved the game. But in a lineup that has so many stars, and I know Manny Machado's on paternity leave now, so he wasn't in. But when Tyler Wade is the guy who's saving the day, come on.
Yeah, Xander Bogaerts still ice cold. He's in the leadoff position, just hasn't been getting on base. But productive night from Fernando Tatis Jr., who hit a triple and also got on base twice with walks. So there's that.
Campy had a couple doubles. He's up to like 4 or 5 2-hit games this year.
Yeah. So not completely. Look, here's the deal. When you're hitting at 300, I would say is the bare minimum, and they did hit exactly that with runners in scoring position. They hit 300. And so who was it? Wade and Merrill, and there was one more who knocked in runs last night. Profar, thank you. And yeah, thank God for Jerks and Profar. Another late addition to this roster, just like Dylan Cease. Early season returns have been fantastic for Jerks, and if they didn't have Jerks and Profar, where would they be right now?
Yeah, no, not 13 and 12. I mean, that's what it boils down to, which is a little troublesome when you go, why can't the top people in this lineup really start to play like they're supposed to play? Yeah. I mean, it's been over a full season now that we've had this complaint, and it's just, I mean, Xander has felt cold for 180 games.
Yeah.
And I know there's been some ups and downs, and actually, I take that back. The start of last season, Xander was the reason he kept him in the
conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then it's felt cold.
He's been bad. And I do like what Mike Schultz says when he talks about Xander, which is I'm going to trust the career, not the last little bit. But you got to make a change at some point. 913 is a couple texts this morning.
Sure.
First one, hats off to the bottom of the order. They're clutch, Campy, Wade, Merrill. Top of the order needs to step it up big time. And then also from the 913, TD's birthday gift, which is coming up May 4th. May the 4th be with you. TD's birthday gift, Broncos jersey with Zach Wilson's mom embroidered on the back.
I mean, feel like there's only one number you can choose there.
Yeah, that's
What's
a good
that?
point.
Yeah.
Good point. It's only.
There's a 6.
Okay.
Yeah, you get it.
It's fine.
Is she an
Yeah.
offensive lineman?
Wait, yeah, exactly.
Did you ever wear that number, Rich?
No.
What a disappointment.
You could never get it.
I see. Well, yeah, it's such a popular number. You would assume that a guy like me would have I would have cornered the market on 69 if, in terms of a jersey number, you
Yes.
sickos.
Come on.
But no, I never did. And honestly, there was always a player on the team wearing that number, and usually it wasn't the guy who you would think would be wearing it. And you're like, how did this happen? It was the last one available. It was like, no, it wasn't. Tell me the full story.
Exactly.
What can I say? I'm adventurous in bed.
What were you? You were 64?
I was 64 in college, and then I bounced around numbers. Each team, I had a different number. 60 with the Patriots, 72 with the Cardinals, 74 with the Chargers. And
Lame.
I never stuck with a number. 78 in high school. It didn't matter that much to me. It was usually like, here's what we have left. What do you like? I'm like, that one.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of moved on with the day, just whistling, like it didn't bother me. But there's a lot of guys who it's like, it's super duper important to them.
Oh.
When the number 0 became available in the NFL, it was like guys fighting over that jersey.
Yeah, then you've seen trades get turned down because they couldn't provide them the number.
It's true.
It's crazy.
Absolutely crazy.
There was a Kirk Cousins, Kyle Pitts drama about the number 8. And when Kirk Cousins went there, he wanted the number 8, but the NFL told him between he and Kyle Pitts, they would have to buy up the rest of the Kyle Pitts number 8 jerseys that were in existence. And it would have been several hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
And so Kirk Cousins was
Wow.
like, yeah, I'm good with 18 or whatever number he chose.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. I don't even know what number he chose in Atlanta, but that is fascinating. Yeah. If you're really attached to a number, it could be super duper costly. What isn't going to be costly today is tickets on this show. We have a plethora, which is a massive abundance. Okay. Pair of tickets to see Luke Bryan. That's a huge show. Keep listening for your chance to win those. Pair of tickets to see Meat Eater Live, the Outdoorsman podcast. They're playing at Balboa Theater. We got tickets to that. Pair of tickets to see the Indoor Football League San Diego Strike Force. That's coming up later in the show. So if you're interested in going to any of those great events, just keep listening right here. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
Three more against the Rockies in Colorado for the Padres starting off today. NBA playoffs, Lakers give up a big lead in the second half. They lose to the Nuggets in game 2 on a Jamal Murray buzzer-beating game winner. Nuggets win 101-99. Nuggets also lead the series 2-0. Knicks take a 2-0 series lead, a controversial win. 104-101 final score over the Sixers. There was some foul play there at the end of that one. And the Cavs beat Orlando by 10. They take a 2-0 series lead. And, of course, in the NFL, the Jets have traded Zach Wilson, former number 2 overall pick. Did you see what the Broncos had to give up to get him, by the way? Next to nothing.
Yeah.
They're
Shocker.
splitting his $6 million salary next year between the two teams.
Yeah.
The Broncos had to send over a 6th round pick, but along with Zach Wilson, the Jets have sent a 7th round pick.
Yeah, it's really good when the other team is like, hey, we will pay you to take this guy.
But I will put the shoe on the other foot for a second. That's kind of what happened with Jared Goff going to the Detroit Lions. It cost the Lions the Rams 2 first rounders, one to get Stafford, the other just to pay the Lions to take Goff.
Yeah,
but his contract.
But Goff wanted to play. Zach Wilson last season was like, don't put me out there, guys. It's cool.
What
I'll
is
just
Sean
hang out.
Payton? Sean Payton, one of the notorious bad boy coaches in the NFL. What does Sean Payton say to somebody like Zach Wilson?
Well,
What time is your mom going to be here?
That's
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
By the way, there was a Sean Payton. I think it went viral years ago.
Him
but
hitting a bong?
Him hitting a bond. It went viral again recently. I think it was because of the Zach Wilson trade. Actually, it was
5 minutes into Zach Wilson's first team meeting. Sean Payton's going to be hitting the bong again.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be backup, right? That's the thought process here.
Who are you starting over him? Ben DiNucci or Jared Stidham?
Whoever they draft, Bo Nix.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like the Denver Broncos. If there is a team primed to trade up and give their new huge salary head coach, basically the keys to the kingdom, and say, hey, listen, great quarterback draft. Go get the one you like the most. You're not getting the first two because there's no way the Commanders or the Bears are trading down. But maybe we could slide in at 3 with the Pats. He's got a great relationship, by the way, with that organization. I remember even as far back as when I was there in New England, we had joint practices with the Saints. So Sean Payton, Bill Belichick, and a lot of the staff members, by the way, who are still around that team, Gerard Mayo, a lot of the staff was retained there in New England, still have a great relationship with Sean Payton. So very possible that something could happen there at the top of the draft where that's the movement we see. The Denver Broncos roar up the board. They take somebody and then Sean Payton tries to sculpt that quarterback into the QB of the future in Denver.
And
so we'll
cross
see
your fingers. It's not a Trey Lance situation.
Yeah.
So who do you want?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
You might have your choice between 3: JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix.
I would probably go JJ McCarthy in that as a Bronco fan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Although the more because of where Bo Nix would fall here in the draft, the more they show of Bo Nix, I go, it might not be bad.
Drake May. So let's think about this.
If they move all the way up to 3, they could get Drake May.
Yeah.
That's assuming the Patriots don't want to draft a quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least a quarterback that
it'll
early.
either be Drake May or Jaden Daniels available at 3.
Oh, well, if they're at 3, man, Jaden Daniels at 3 seems crazy to me. But I think
Frisco,
you're right.
CBS, Pete Frisco, he's covered a bunch of college and pro.
Pete Prisco.
Frisco, yeah, he's already saying Jaden Daniels is moving up potentially to number 1. So people are going crazy.
That's what I was saying yesterday, like to Bill Barnwell. I was saying one of the guys who has impressed me more and more as I go back and watch more of the highlight tape and even the low light tape, because obviously that's available for all these prospects. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, the 3 names at the top of the board. And then there's a little distance before we start talking about Penix Jr. or JJ McCarthy, whoever's next on your board. The more I like Jaden Daniels. I watched some LSU games live, but I have to tell you the evaluation, I was kind of like, I've seen this before. But then the closer I look, I'm like, no, this was a standout season, final season. He's played a long time in college football, learned a lot. He transferred in from ASU before becoming the star that he became in his final season. And there have been certain guys who have stuck around programs for a while. I mean, coming out of LSU, Joe Burrow wasn't anything until his 5th year in college.
Right.
And then he lit the world on fire, and he's been one of the best quarterbacks when healthy in the NFL since.
As of yesterday, Vegas was saying it's a 99.5% chance that Caleb Williams goes first. So Vegas almost all in.
Yeah. And it does feel like he's going to be the first overall pick. Who knows who's the best out of this draft? We don't know until they put on NFL helmets and they're getting hit for real in the big leagues. All right. So we had the Lakers fall to the Denver Nuggets again. Is this series over? 2-0 lead, Denver over LA.
Going into that game yesterday, I would say yes, but I actually did something I haven't really done this year. I sat down and watched a full NBA game, and it was this one. And there was a lot of complaining afterwards by LeBron James about the officiating. I really didn't see the issue. I know in the last 2 minutes of that game, the calls were going LA's way. Like LeBron had a very clear push off with about 19 seconds left to give himself a wide open 3-pointer that would have taken the lead in a tie ball game, and he missed it. And that was a clear no call by the refs. And then on the other end, Jamal Murray hits the shot where he was probably fouled on that shot. So the officiating in the NBA playoffs gets a little different. They let a little bit more go, and I'm for that. And we saw a similar situation happen in the Knicks game. But the LeBron James Lakers might be toast in this one. Denver is very good. They might have played their worst basketball they've played all year in that first half yesterday, and they were still able to come back. They were down 20 at one point, and they came all the way back and won that game by 2.
Yeah.
Like Denver is stupid. And Jamal Murray played terrible in the first half. He's the guy who hits the game winner.
Yeah, and the Lakers, to me, as I watched that fourth quarter go down, they looked like they were just giving up at times. Like we had a big enough lead. We're just going to lay off. We're going to coast a little bit. And Denver took advantage, man. Denver caught right back up. And that last minute of the game was electric.
Yeah. Look, here's I always hope for exciting games. I'm not a Lakers fan, and that was an exciting finish. Way more competitive of a game in the second half than game 1. So that was exciting. I wish Denver didn't take a 2-0 lead here, because I do think that it's sort of the death knell for the Lakers. Yeah, we've seen teams, LeBron teams, come back from deficits in the postseason before. I mean, famously coming back from 3-1 to win the finals over the Warriors. But it's just the Denver Nuggets kind of look like it's not going to happen to them. They seem machine-like. That's the perfect way to describe them. So I don't love where the series is. I love the fact that this is still a burgeoning rivalry, and it seems like it's getting a little bit chippier. I mean, anytime LeBron James gets to the post-game podium and he can't control himself, where he's cursing while he's answering questions, whether it's about the officiating or about the opponent, it builds the drama, builds the intrigue. You kind of feel like it'll be a game 3 win for the Lakers as a result of this. And then now we have a little bit of a series, but I don't know if they dig themselves out of 2-0 hole.
I don't understand what's going on in the replay center, to be honest. D'Lo clearly gets hit in the face on the drive. What the f do we have a replay center? If it's going to go, it doesn't make sense to me. It makes no sense to me. It bothers me. Sorry I didn't answer your question, but is like, and then I just saw what happened with the Sixers Knicks game too. What are we doing?
I also feel like if you are now having to complain about the tiny details, you got outplayed.
Well, look, I understand the frustration with the replay center, because I've oftentimes said, what's the point of having a replay center if you're going to get plays wrong? Now, I understand allowing games to be officiated more loosely, swallowing your whistles in the playoffs. I agree with all those things. And it does sound like speaking out of the both sides of my mouth, but I'm not. The reality is, though, the replay center or the replay in all sports is always so flawed, because they get just about as many of those calls wrong as they do right anyways. So replay is stupid. It doesn't work. It's not effective. It has never been effective, but it's a great way to build drama and to give a false sense of security to players and coaches and owners that, hey, we're doing everything we can to scrutinize these important, impactful moments to get the call right, because they're still not getting it right.
The biggest no call of the game was LeBron James's shot with 19 seconds left. He clearly pushed off his defender, sending the dude flying into the paint, and then steps back and misses the wide open shot. So it's kind of a ball doesn't lie situation. But that was the biggest no call of the game. And had that gone the other way, then Denver would have had the tie game with 12 seconds on the clock, just like they did end up in reality. Replay center is stupid when you're talking about subjective calls. Replay center is awesome when you're talking about black or white. Hey, the ball tipped off of this guy's hand, not that guy's hand. And I think the same thing with the NFL. I think the same thing with Major League Baseball.
I disagree, because they'll even mess up those calls too.
And that's inexcusable. But what LeBron's complaining about is a play where D'Angelo Russell got hit in the face, and it was like whether or not it was a flagrant 2, flagrant 1, and that was the issue that he had.
No, I get that, and I understand that argument, but I'm saying anybody arguing for replay hasn't paid close enough attention to even when it's supposed to be one of those, there's no gray area. This is a black and white call, and the video evidence provided clearly proves X. Oftentimes, refs or officials or umpires call Y, and you go, and that's exactly what you say. You go, why? What right. The hell are you seeing that we're not seeing at home, or vice versa? And that's the problem with it. If you're going to build in a system that's supposed to cure all those ills, and it actually makes people more frustrated, just get rid of it. I think the replay center is dumb. Well, if you didn't have it, you wouldn't have LeBron James, a star of your league, criticizing the NBA this morning.
And a lot of times, well, when it comes down to the end of some of these games, and all of a sudden they're able to look at the replay real fast, and you go, oh, they don't want to slow this down.
Yeah, and that's true too. Sometimes it's about the product, moving along, or they got another tip-off coming in the playoffs, and this is true in all sports. And it's like I said, it kind of always has hit me in the wrong spot. Like to me, it actually makes more problems than it solves. But look, it's the system that's in place, and the Lakers have to find a way to win with that system in place, because guess what? The Nuggets have figured it out. They swept them last year in the finals, and it looks like it's possible, at least in theory, they could do it again here in the opening round of the West. So we'll see what happens there. We'll switch our gears back to the NFL. Very interesting letters sent to fans of one team. What am I looking at over there?
Brittany Mahomes needs our help. She needs a larger top.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going to help her out with that as well.
She's out in Mexico, and I mean, there's a lot spilling out.
Going to need 2 hands.
Yeah.
Gonna
Top
need 2
and bottom.
hands.
Do you know what she needs?
What's that?
Some kind of support.
Yeah, you're darn right. And I needed that too. Not for my chest, more with my feet. And over at the Good Feet store, they got you covered with their arch supports. So look, if you're struggling with lower body joint pain, whether it's in your feet, your ankles, your knees, your hips, your back, anywhere that supports your weight, you need to support yourself better with these arch supports, because your feet are the foundation of the rest of your body. Puts you in better alignment, and that results in better joint relief. So I struggled for a long time with joint pain. My knees and my hips, my lower back especially, were a mess after an NFL career. I was searching for options, and I was actually considering going under the knife, but decided to cancel a bunch of appointments because I found relief with the Good Feet store. So check them out. Book your first appointment today for your free test walk and your try before you buy experience at goodfeet.com. That's goodfeet.com.
A very, very sad goodbye out in Atlanta. We'll talk about it next.
This update is presented by the Jim Betrell Real Estate Team. Padres take down the Rockies behind an excellent start from Dylan Cease and some late inning heroics from pinch hitter Tyler Wade, who knocked in the go-ahead run late. 3 more against the Rockies in Colorado over the next few days. NBA playoffs, Lakers gave up a big lead in the second half. They lose to the Nuggets in Game 2, 101-99 on a Jamal Murray buzzer beater. Knicks take a 2-0 series lead with a 104-101 win over the Sixers in a wild game. And the Cavs take down Orlando by 10 to take a 2-0 series lead. In the NFL, Jets have traded quarterback Zach Wilson to the Broncos. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Betrell has the buyer. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
Big Rich. TD. Flash. Hey, Sandy the Sports 760 has chances for you to win bonus bucks. Yep, $1,000 every single day this week. Just listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. We also have a pair of tickets for you to go see Luke Bryan at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. That's happening August 8th. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com, or just keep listening for your chance to win those. I saw Luke Bryan a number of years ago. Luke Bryan was huge for a time period.
Still is.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's an American Idol judge, of course. Slipped on a cell phone the other day. Are you a big Luke Bryan fan?
I used to love him. In high school, I listened to him all the time. Not so much lately, but I could get back into it pretty easily.
What?
I would be going to this show
Real quick.
But I'll be in Vegas that weekend for Morgan Wallen, who's kind of taking his place, it feels like.
Yeah, it does kind of feel that way, because there was like this time period where like Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean and somebody else were like the
Poppy,
bad boys.
Country,
Yeah.
party.
Yeah. And now it's Morgan Wallen for sure. Morgan Wallen, though, feels bigger than anybody in country has felt in a long time.
I'm pretty excited for that show. I've wanted to go see a football game in Allegiant Stadium. And like, I really do. I want to go out to Vegas for like a Niners-Raiders game or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think Morgan Wallen might be better
than a Raiders game.
I think so.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, especially if the Niners are there.
Well, you had a text, by the way. It might be from your mom, TD, but it's from the 619.
That's not my mom.
It says, where was it? It's Bang Bang Weiner Gang. Broncos have a Super Bowl more recently than the 49ers. In fact, they have 3 more. Shut your mouth, Ben.
Why did I get that text?
I think it was in defense of you.
Oh, gotcha.
Can I ask you guys a quick question?
Yeah.
Like when it comes to like retiring and saying goodbye, is there a time limit?
There should be, yeah. There should be, yes.
Because I was just thinking about this.
like a time limit of how long the goodbye gets to be?
Yeah, or how long the goodbye gets to be. Like, that's perfectly stated. Like the exact length of time. Now, and then others, Jason Kelsey, for example, that was a long goodbye at the podium. It took him 45 minutes, 20 of it just to compose himself. Right. He was so emotional, saying goodbye to the fan base, saying goodbye to the game of football, but also like distance between the time they've actually hung up the cleats and then the point when they actually do say goodbye, because Matt Ryan just said goodbye to the Atlanta Falcons. And Matt Ryan's like been in the broadcast booth for like 2 seasons now.
I didn't realize he wasn't retired until yesterday.
I do think he wanted to come back and play. He just didn't have any takers.
Okay, so that does make a lot of sense. It makes a lot more sense. I didn't realize he still was out there actively trying to get a job.
I want to say at like week 10 last year, there was a rumor going around that he might join it might have been the Colts with struggling Gardner Minshew had to taken over at quarterback. Matt Ryan had been there, so I think they were thinking about maybe bringing him back.
Here's the other thing about that though. Like, okay, that possible. I mean, then again, there was all that weirdness with Jim Irsay where he like benched him, like he was responsible for benching him. So even with a new head coach, it probably wouldn't have happened. Here's the crazy thing about it though. He could have said goodbye to Atlanta whenever. You know, I mean, he could, because even if he re-signed with the Atlanta Falcons later on, I mean, he could have said goodbye. So let's play a little bit of this because this is about 45 minutes long online.
Is it that long?
I don't know.
No, because there's no timer at the bottom, and I watched about a minute of it and went, it's nice. But yeah, I agree. Like, it's too long.
Yeah, here's Matt Ryan.
way
Yeah, damn right.
I'm over it.
Yeah, a little bit of
I mean, that was the end.
little bit of a slow start. Look, the point is, he was a sensational player. He was one of the best in the world doing this. And a lot of people go, oh, come on. Matt Ryan was never elite. Matt Ryan was never this, never that.
Look at the stats.
Yeah, look at his stats. And honestly, look at, I mean, he helped launch Kyle Shanahan's career. You know, he made his bones in the NFL. Like, he became a head coach off of the game film that he showed the league. Like, look what I can do with Matt Ryan, and vice versa. Matt Ryan did that for Kyle Shanahan because he was a good enough player to do that in that offensive system they built in Atlanta. So
now there's a chance Matt Ryan ends up in the Hall of Fame because of his numbers. He had an MVP season. Who knows how that's actually going to work out? But I think Julio Jones is probably a no-doubter Hall of Famer with the numbers that he's compiled, and a lot of that is thanks to Matt Ryan.
Exactly. And I don't know if he will be a Hall of Famer because
maybe not.
No
he falls in the Phillip Rivers category where it's like, can they actually get in without a championship? And now Matt Ryan is partially responsible for one of the biggest collapses in Super Bowl history.
Well, yeah, and also one of the biggest collapses in playoff history.
Yeah,
I mean,
all sports.
Yeah, just it's incredible. However, if Matt Ryan was sitting in that Denver Bronco quarterback room where you just listed off those names, Matt Ryan is the starter right now.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah, it ain't even close.
If you scroll for long enough, eventually somebody points out that they lost that Super Bowl game, like in the comment section of this Instagram post, and see that, like, I mean, that unfortunately is like one of the more defining moments of his career. Also, he was a part of the biggest regular season collapse any team's ever had in the history of the NFL. Also, if you remember when he was a starting quarterback for the Colts, it was the Vikings who roared back in the second half of whatever that was, the 2022 season to win.
We don't have to bring it up.
No,
we don't have to bring it up.
No,
we don't have to do it.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite.
I forgot about this part of the story.
Golly.
We had a bet going on our show. And me and Fletch picked against each other. I took the Vikings. He took the Colts. And what I think it was at halftime.
Did you tweet it out, by the way? Okay, good.
From like our show account. That was back in the weight room days. You guys remember when we would do those?
Yeah.
Like 30 minutes after the show, we would go live on that app. And I clipped out a portion of the video where I called the Colts upsetting the Vikings. Because it was like we were doing what could be the biggest upset of the week. And I said that. And so I clipped out the part where I was like, you know what, guys, I got to be honest. I see the Colts upsetting the Minnesota Vikings. They were like 6-point dogs or something. At halftime, the Colts were up by 25, something like that.
I think it was 28-0.
Yeah.
28-0.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, called this one. And Rich, you thought I was so stupid, blah, blah, blah. And then in the second half.
And then, but worse than that, the tweet was like, told you so.
Yeah. In your face, idiots.
Yes, gosh, everybody thought I was an idiot. And then literally 2 hours later, it was proven true.
It was hilarious.
It was great. But yeah, listen, this to me is truly a changing of the guard moment in the NFL. And we have said this a couple of times over, but Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, they're gone. They're gone. It is now Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, if he could ever pull it together with the Chargers, Tua Tagovailoa, now maybe even Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
I mean, I include him. He's one of the best young talents in this league. There's no question about it at that position. I mean, they're ushering Jalen Hurts, I guess you could lump into this conversation. They're ushering in the new era of quarterback play. And it does feel like for a while there, it was tumultuous. Like, who's really going to take the mantle? I didn't mention Brady, obviously Brady as well. But it appears that we have a secure future because there's enough talent there.
And Aaron Rodgers, still there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Still kicking.
Am I the only one that has this weird feeling of like, as soon as they pay Brock Purdy, it's going to fall apart?
He was asked about that yesterday. He was asked about a contract extension. He shut down anything. He was like, no, we're focused on winning this year. Deal with the contract later.
Well, it's the right
Well,
way to
yeah.
handle
He
it.
has
Exactly.
2 years left on his rookie deal. He's like, I'm not worried. There's 2 years left on my contract.
Fine. I can rent a room until then.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Airbnb have been
Look, it's not like he's broke.
couch surfing.
That's not how they portray it.
I've got a buddy who's got a queen size pullout. So if worst comes to worst, I mean, actually, it's a Tempur-Pedic. I don't want to brag. I don't want to brag to anybody.
But I wake up refreshed.
Not a lot of room for my wife and my dog, but dog sleeps on the floor, and sometimes I sleep on the floor. Look, it's fine. It's better for my back. Anyways, what were we talking about? Yeah, upcoming
We're
season.
talking about prize picks.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, we have a major announcement in golf coming up. But yeah, let's get to prize picks because you can put some entries in on golf. In fact,
Just Scotty Scheffler over and over and over again. He won again.
The RBC Heritage.
He hot.
He hot. He won a second jacket at the RBC Heritage. It is a plaid jacket
It's way
instead of a green.
goofier
Yeah,
than the Masters
definitely,
jacket.
Definitely.
Looks good on you though.
Yeah.
It could. But Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app, much like Scotty Scheffler is the #1 golfer in the world. Over 3 million active members, the easiest, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike some of the other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. And I was saying that over and over again for like 6 months. And finally, somebody listened to me, and his name is Rich Ornberger. And now he's a fiend. Look at him over there. He's on his
fiend.
Prize Picks app right
No.
now.
I'm a winner. I'm a winner because yesterday I had 2 stars. I had Nikola Jokic going over. All I needed in terms of his stat category was 0.5. He went over. Also, LeBron James, 25.5. Guess how many points he scored, Fletch?
26.
26 points. That means it's a win for Big Rich, and it can be a win for you too. It's very simple. Just download the Prize Picks app today. Sign up with promo code DOGS. That's DOGS, DOGS. You heard me right. And your first deposit is doubled up to $100. So if you put in 50, they'll double it to 100. You put in 75, you're playing with 150. You put in $100 like I did, you get $200 to go and have fun, place your entries higher or lower on the statistical categories of your favorite players, especially in these NBA playoffs. It makes the NBA playoffs so much more fun to follow along. Again, that promo code is DOGS, DOGS at Prize Picks.
Pick more.
Pick
Less. It's that easy.
Prize
Yeah!
Picks. All right, we got those Luke Bryan tickets coming up. Keep listening. I promise you that's coming up real soon. Plus, San Diego Strike Force, a pair of Meat Eater tickets as well. So many big developments. What do you got?
Nothing. I just feel like I have something if I do that.
What are you, Rush Limbaugh?
Yeah. Holding here in my formerly nicotine-stained hands.
So we have a lot of listeners who tune in every single day. We thank all of them. We especially thank the roadies, the dogs, the hangers, the bangers, the texters. You know who you are because you are consistent. If there's one thing we can count on, like the morning sun, it's some of these listeners chiming in on the text line, comments on our Instagram or Twitter or TikTok posts. We see you. We love you. We appreciate you. There are times where a listener will step above the rest and do something that they do not need to do. And I promise you, you absolutely do not need to do this. But we got to give a shout out to Patrick Allen, who, I mean,
This is a box.
he consistently does this a couple times a year. We'll get a giant box and it'll just be filled with stuff.
And Patrick's a great example. He grew up in Poway. He now lives in Florida, never misses a show on the free iHeartRadio app every single day. And look at all this crap he sent us. It's awesome.
Okay.
We have a bunch of comic books.
Wow. Hold on. We got Batman right on top.
There's Batman there. Well, hang on.
We got Batman. We got Daredevil.
Is this a puzzle?
Number one Batman
I think it's a
Off-World.
Board game.
I'm going to nerd out here, boys.
Dead Men Tell No Tales
What-
board game. Oh, it is a board game. You're
Okay,
absolutely
cool.
right.
Oh, Pirates.
Let's see. Geez.
Fletch was just talking about Pirates.
Black Sails.
New,
Awesome
new show he likes.
Got
A
added to
South
Netflix.
Park card game.
Yes.
What's this other one?
What-
It's Slugfest.
Let's see. I don't know.
Oh, we got some Funko Pops. Look at these. We got the
yeah.
Incredible Hulk and Venom.
The Red Dragon Inn.
Oh my gosh.
Also looks
I think
like
Carnage is in there too.
Carnage?
The bad Spider-Man.
Dude, this
What?
is rad. I'm a huge Marvel
Oh yeah,
fan.
we got Venom, we got Hulk,
and we
we
got,
got more.
Carnage.
Oh yeah, Carnage. How about that?
More comic books. So, anyways, Patrick Allen.
Yeah.
We know you're listening. We appreciate you, buddy. We really thank you. It's completely unnecessary, but you already know that, and we haven't been able to stop you yet. So,
Merry Christmas.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Is that the Christmas? Is that
That's what he
belated
said on
Christmas?
Twitter yesterday. He's like, "Hey, your Christmas present's here."
Well, we're gonna geek out here.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. That's
Cool.
really awesome. We got more stuff for the office, which we absolutely need because we're gonna have to hide some of the booze.
What-
Absolutely gonna have to
Yeah,
hide
yeah,
some of that
that's-
booze.
we're gonna do a little spring cleaning.
Sounds like the man's cracking down on old Big Rich, TD, and Fletch on
Listen.
the not our office.
Well, it kind of looks like a storage bin now, but it's just filled with stuff.
We
so
should probably
some
build
spring
shelves.
cleaning. Yeah,
Yeah.
or like a cabinet.
Yeah, or a cabinet. Check this out. So Tiger Woods, he knows his timing is, well, I should say his timing has always been impeccable, but he also is aware of when his name is burning the hottest. And I think we're in one of those moments where I don't know how much more relevance he's going to have on the PGA Tour, especially considering how his body fell apart in the weekend rounds at the Masters. I don't know how much further he can take this career, but he made an announcement. Now, Fletch, you're our resident golf fan expert. What exactly is going to happen here?
Well, this is the TGL thing that he's been doing, but he's basically added a few people. Max Homa is the biggest name among them. Tom Kim also, who's really young, but is starting to make a name for himself in golf. He's added some people to what he's calling the Juniper Links Golf Club,
Sure.
which is going to be some sort of league. And now this is part of the company that he and Rory McIlroy have founded. And there's going to be some indoor stuff to it. It's all kitschy kind of YouTube stuff that they're going to be putting out
So
a bunch.
this is like they're going to be doing almost like golf challenges,
Bingo.
like small group, kind of more interpersonal, stuff like that.
Everyone mic'd up. It's
Yeah.
going to be very in person. And this is, I think, to avoid Tiger having to play a full week of golf and having him play like one round at a time and still make money at it.
This is the exit strategy.
Yeah.
So Tiger
Bingo.
Woods still is the face of the PGA, but he doesn't have to put the wear and tear on his body. There's a little link where you can click and see like the coming attractions, but it is going to be that. Look, he still can swing a golf club, but can he walk miles and miles over weekends of golf or 4-round tournaments with the practice rounds and all the things that go into it? The answer is no. His
Honestly,
body is just broken down too far.
This kind of ticks me off.
It does?
It really does, because Tiger and Rory seem like they're starting to infringe upon a new space that's kind of been created in this world with Good Golf and Bob Does Sports. Like, they've really taken over the YouTube golf, and Rick Shields, who's actually overseas, he's a British golfer, but they've sort of taken over the space of YouTube golf and gotten advertisers, and everything is very homegrown. Like, none of them were celebrities beforehand. They built this thing on their own. And now all of a sudden, pro golfers are starting to go into YouTube golf. And they're gonna, I hope they don't eat up all the audience that has really been committed and devoted to these groups, but it feels like they might.
Well, I can't imagine that Juniper Links Golf Club is as goofy as Good Golf. I mean, it's going to be the serious side.
I think
of
they
it.
hope it will be goofy. I think that's part of the allure to it. I think they want to be mic'd up and having fun, and like that's more approachable than golf, which has long had this tradition of being a little more stuck up.
I just can't imagine it's as crazy. I mean, it's almost,
Probably
Good Golf is almost the frat party of YouTube golf.
I also think that I've always said this. I think lines create lines. Like so, for example, if you're looking at a bar on opposite sides of the same street and one has 0 people waiting in line, and you look through the window and looks kind of dead in there, and then you look across the street and you see a line 15 people deep, and it looks like the club is full and people are having a good time, you're going to hop on the line. You're actually going to wait to get into a place as opposed to have the instant gratification of getting in right now. So like, as YouTube channels and podcasts and some of this quote unquote free media that people are exploring becomes more popular, I don't think it's going to hurt anybody who was there before. I think it's only going to raise their profile, because imagine what this means for Bob Does Golf or Good Golf or all these goofy YouTube channels that used to have no views and then all of a sudden catapulted and skyrocketed recently. This only gives more credibility to what they've built, because the pros now want to try to copy the format that they've laid out.
Max Homa, by the way, has now been on Bob Does Sports twice. And it seems like it's going to be like a repeating thing where he plays around to golf with them.
See, I think that's good for all of these content creators. It's like, it's just encouraging you to do more, because now the pros will come to you. Yep. Now that's the stop on the tour, as opposed to it being the old car wash. They're going to the new car wash.
Now, Tiger and Rory haven't announced that this will be on YouTube. That's just kind of my guess, is that's where it's going to go. But they might put this behind a paywall, like on one of their own websites. They might do something like that, which I think will probably kill the idea before it even starts.
Right. 1,000%.
Maybe they will, maybe they won't, because if there's one thing golf hasn't gotten right in a long time, and maybe this is the outreach project, is they've created barriers. It's been too polished. It's been too polite. Maybe this is where they start breaking down the barriers.
I hope so.
Yeah. Same.
I hope it's super approachable. And by the way, I'm the audience. Like, I'll be captivated either way. I'll find room to fit this in because I love Tiger.
I'm just happy. Yeah, there's an exit strategy for Tiger where he'll still remain relevant, because he was one of the heroes of my sports childhood, along with Michael Jordan and Mike Tyson. There were some great players. Tom Brady was one of them. I ended up being a teammate of his. Like, there were greats during my time growing up that it's tough letting go of all of them. Like Tyson, I don't actually want to see him fight. It's upsetting that he's still fighting at 50. Tom Brady probably should hang it up for good, even though he's still flirting with the idea that if a team calls and it's the right situation, he'll come back. Tiger Woods, though, I'm not quite ready to let go of him, because golfers typically can play longer. But if this is a segue, it's an off-ramp I think I could enjoy. So we'll see. All right. Yeah. Hey, coming up, we talked about Tom Brady briefly there. How about a guy who's still trying to get to that level? Now he has new hope in Denver.
Sweet.
We'll get to that story in a second. But first, I want to talk to everybody about all this weight that we've lost collectively as a show. Look, sdfatloss.com. You've heard us talk about this before, and usually we're goofing around. I want to be very serious about something. As I'm approaching 40, more and more, I'm taking a closer look at my numbers, and I'm talking about my health numbers, right? You start, getting your blood work done, and you're hopeful that things are going to turn out well. You start, getting different panels because you're, advancing in age, and you think to yourself, oh boy, like what happens if I get a negative report on, the blood pressure or the cholesterol or this or that? And, when you're overweight, those worries and those concerns they should be there, because you're not doing the right thing for your body. Well, with sdfatloss.com, they gave me a big solution to a big problem. And that was the extra weight I was carrying around. I hadn't realized it before we started this program, but I ballooned all the way up to almost my old playing weight. And with the help from Wayne and Chloe doing it the natural way, I was able to get back down and I've kept the weight off. And that's the beautiful thing about their program is not only will you lose the weight, but they'll help you maintain the weight loss. There are so many fad diets out there that they don't do it the natural way. You know, they prescribe you a drug and you lose weight real fast, but you gain it all back. Or they send you meals and then you're great for about 3 months and then you gain all the weight back. And or the protein shakes, which are gross and they almost feel like they never work.
And you're trying to like fool yourself into, I like these.
Yeah. And or like the strategy is working for you, but it doesn't really. Look, again, it's the natural way, it's the right way, and they'll help you sustain that weight loss. SDFatLoss.com. And if you mention us, Big Rich TD Fletch, you save $200 on your subscription. If you need any added benefit, there it is. SDFatLoss.com.
Hour 2, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update presented by RCP Block. Padres beat the Rockies behind an excellent start from Dylan Cease. 3 more against Colorado over the next few days. NBA playoffs, Lakers give up a big lead. They lose in Game 2 to the Nuggets 101-99. Knicks take a 2-0 series lead with a 104-101 win over the Sixers. And in the NFL, Jets have traded quarterback Zach Wilson to the Broncos. Problem solved. RCP Block is here to make hardscape easy. Spruce up your outdoors with their great selection of pavers, decorative rocks, retaining walls, fire pits, and more. RCP Block, your number one source for hardscape and masonry supplies with 6 convenient locations in the area.
Yeah, happy Tuesday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. Those Luke Bryan tickets coming up this hour. We're going to tell you exactly how to win those very shortly, so you're going to want to be listening. Also, San Diego Strike Force tickets, as well as Meat Eater podcast tickets. You'll be able to go and see their show at Balboa Theater. But what we have for you this morning are a couple of stories of fascination out of Denver, of all places. But the Nuggets take a 2-0 lead over the Lakers. We'll get back to that. The Padres, they take the lead in the series. It's a 4-gamer, but they win Game 1 in historic fashion. We'll get back to that. The Denver Broncos have traded for quarterback Zach Wilson.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Oh, man.
Banana bread in Denver, dude? Hell yeah, dude.
I look, as a Bronco fan,
It just makes sense. You
Yeah,
have your
pretty
next
much.
Hall of Fame quarterback.
pretty much.
His name is Zach Wilson. Honestly, you did get a number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft for next to nothing.
That is the best spin I've ever heard. Do you work for the Denver Broncos PR department?
Maybe I should.
You know what?
Maybe you should.
I bet they could have got Trey Lance for even less.
Trey Lance went for a 4th round pick to the Dallas Cowboys.
Well,
Actually,
I thought he went higher than that.
no.
No. I'm saying, wasn't Trey Lance like a number 1 pick?
Oh, no.
No, he was a way early round draft pick for the
Yeah.
He might have been the 2nd overall.
Second overall.
Second
But
overall.
he got traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a 4th
Oh,
round
no,
pick.
that's what I'm saying. You could have spun that even further if we would have, as Bronco fans, traded somehow for Trey Lance, which somehow would have felt about the same here.
It's not bad. It's not good. It's nothing. Okay. So look,
That's so accurate.
we oftentimes do this in sports. We attach an inappropriate value to a name. This is no offense to Zach Wilson. I thought he was a brilliant college quarterback. I watched him in person live I broadcasted games for Zach Wilson. I thought he was a fabulous player for the BYU Cougars. I didn't think that the Jets drafting him would be a great choice for 2 reasons. One, because he was a little undersized. And frankly, I mean, some of the less conventional playmaking, that was a la Johnny Manziel and some of the other players who flamed out at the next level. Think Robert Griffin III. That was more injury related, but there was also some inability to catch up with the playbook that was recently revealed. He and Jay Gruden had a war of words, et cetera, et cetera. The point being, Zach Wilson had some blemishes on the resume. The biggest problem was getting drafted by the Jets, because the Jets are a historical wasteland of 1st-round drafted quarterbacks. It has not worked out in a long time, so it didn't feel like it was going to work, and it didn't. As a matter of fact, it didn't work so badly that they went out and got themselves nearly a 40-year-old quarterback to replace him, who only played 4 snaps last year, and he's their world's hope this upcoming season. So they move on from Wilson. He's now the Denver Broncos' backup quarterback, because I promise you, they're not going to stick with Zach Wilson.
No.
What if they do?
There's
no way.
What if they do?
There's no way.
What if they go into this season thinking it's another year where they need to fight for maybe a 1st overall draft pick, and Zach Wilson is the quarterback of the Denver Broncos?
There is no way that
You
the
say there's no
fan
way.
base
What's the
will allow
percentage?
that. 0% in my mind.
I think here's the deal. At this point, it's 0%. There's no way that's the plan. However, I will say this. Could I see a situation where they don't have the appropriate value or can't trade up to get the quarterback that they want out of this year's draft? Okay, now we're talking.
Well, we talk about the 5th pick with the Chargers thinking, it's easy for one of these teams who are quarterback needed to move up. The Chargers are going to be asking for a boatload
No question.
for that pick.
And that's my point, is what happens if another team jumps up the board and grabs that pick like the Vikings? Maybe they're more desperate. Another team jumps up, maybe a team that we weren't thinking of. Well, all of a sudden, Team X is they're picking at number 3 because the Patriots traded. And so maybe there's a bunch of quarterbacks, there's a run on QBs by the time you get to pick 12 and they can't move. And as a result, now they draft a quarterback where there's a camp battle between Zach Wilson and this drafted quarterback, and the rookie's not ready. So it is going to be Zach Wilson to start the season.
Oh, God.
Now, here's the thing. Do I think he's going to stay the starter? Probably not, especially if they draft a quarterback in the first round. But could I see him starting the season for the Denver Broncos? Right now, if I squint, I can see a way that happens.
You should have looked at TD's face the whole time you were just talking.
Because it makes me physically ill. I mean, it's just Zach Wilson is not a winner. I mean, that's just all it is. And I know he's had decent games. I know he's had moments of good, but he's just not the guy that's going to carry you through a season. So, I mean, if you need him in a pinch, I could see that working. As a backup, I can see it working. Your starter goes down and you need to get through a couple quarters. It works. We saw it work in New York. He did okay for a couple games. But when you had to lean on him, no, it falls apart.
Yeah.
It falls apart.
Yeah. It really does. It really does. It's one of those things where when you think about a guy like Zach Wilson or a guy like Sam Darnold or a guy like Mitchell Trubisky or a guy like, name them, any first round talent who got taken too high, and now, Trey Lance, we're just talking about, and now they're going to be a career backup. The best you could hope is that they don't screw up. Like in terms of like, if they're given an opportunity, whether it's, to spot start during a quarterback injury situation or, a situation where they are a bridge quarterback in some way, like maybe Zach Wilson will serve as with the Denver Broncos here this upcoming season, they just don't screw it up.
Right.
It's hard. It's hard though. Playing in the NFL is really hard. I think what proves it is the about 45 to 50% miss rate on first round drafted quarterbacks, because these are the best talent evaluators we've been told on the planet. These are the best coaches we've been told on the planet, and they can't even get this right.
Zach Wilson is like the spare tire of the NFL. Like, I went down to the tire shop, I came back home, and your wife went, "Did you get new tires?" "No, but I got a spare, not a full size, the donut. So no worries. It's going to get us where we need to go if we break down, but we don't want to keep driving on it."
All right, I'll get us started on the morning monologue, and then I want to hear from Fletch and then TD. I have a feeling with all the emotions running hot right now with the Denver Broncos, we're going to have an interesting monologue.
It's not Denver Bronco related.
Oh, I figured because you do like to compartmentalize. He's having a meltdown with the Broncos, so this is going to be off the rails. It's a promise I'm sure he'll make good on in just a few minutes. I'll get us started with the Padres. So Dylan Cease, he steps on the mound, he toes the rubber, and he makes history yesterday. 540 first pitch, and if you're watching 7 innings of damn near hitless baseball.
1 hit.
The guy is a machine right now. And this is what I love about sport, but specifically what I love about the Padres, I guess. I mean, I don't want to focus specifically on the Padres because this can happen anywhere, anytime to any team. But expectations are sort of the thief of joy. Like when you have all of these expectations about the trip to Disney World or Disneyland or the theme park that you're excited for, and you build it up in your head, and then you show up at the park, and for some reason, like the colors aren't popping as brightly as you thought, and the smells aren't smelling as great as you thought, and the churro was kind of stale, and the lines were too long, and it was a super hot day, and you dropped your ice cream cone. And it's like when you build up your expectations too far, you can often take a farther fall when things don't go perfectly. When the Disney trip is sprung on you, when it's like, hey, mom and dad are pulling you out of school today, and we're going to Disneyland. All of a sudden, there's no expectation, so all of your expectations are met. That's the way I feel about Dylan Cease. That's the way I feel about the Padres this season. I'm actually more excited about this team than I was last year with a similar record, because I came into the season not expecting nearly as much. It's been a way more fun ride.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. More fun, more relaxing. There's more confidence in this team somehow, which seems incredible because, man, oh man, the start of last season was supposed to be amazing. And it was not. It was not. It did go well, but nicely done. I agree with that.
Fletch, what do you got today?
Well, the NFL draft is a few days away, and I promise this is not me being a fanboy, but how irrelevant has Mr. Irrelevant become after Brock Purdy was drafted?
This is what you're thinking about with the draft coming up?
It really
You're
is.
like, listen, a couple years ago.
Well, in 2022, Brock Purdy was drafted as the final pick in the draft, number 262, and he did something unheard of from that position as Mr. Irrelevant in 2022. He played 6 games. He threw for 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Last year, he played a full season, 4,280 yards, 31 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, passer rating of 113. Like, Brock Purdy is a bona fide star quarterback in the NFL, picked as Mr. Irrelevant. Do you guys know who Mr. Irrelevant was a year ago?
No, not at all.
His name was Deshaun Johnson.
Mhm.
He plays for the Los Angeles Rams. He did have a couple tackles in the regular season. He's a defensive tackle, but he played in 4 games. He did not play in the playoff game against Detroit. He had a total of 4 tackles on the season. This year's Mr. Irrelevant. Like, a team is going to expect something Brock Purdy-esque out of Mr. Irrelevant when they get him. Like, oh, this is exciting. We get a Mr. Irrelevant, and it's never going to live up to expectations. Mr. Irrelevant has been ruined for all of NFL history because of what Brock Purdy has done in the first 2 years of his career.
You think that other teams are thinking like, hey, the last pick in the draft is going to be awesome?
I'm saying a point of excitement was made by Brock Purdy coming out and having the success that he's had, where people who have the Mr. Irrelevant pick now are going to be looking, oh, maybe our guy can do something too, and it's never going to happen ever again.
No, you couldn't be more wrong if you tried.
Okay.
I promise you, there's not a single team out there who's going like, you know what,
Just
guys?
wait till last.
Yeah, we've really we took our eye off the ball with the last pick of the draft.
I'm not saying there should be expectations. I'm saying Brock Purdy has made
Are you saying
dropped the curtain over the fact that the last pick in the draft can't do anything because he's now done something, and now teams look moving forward to be like, oh, hey, maybe this last guy in the draft is going to do something for us. They never will.
Well, okay, but that's my point is, like, it's not true from this standpoint. If you've been in the NFL or you've been a talent evaluator in the NFL, assistant or a head coach in the NFL, you've seen this a million times over. There's always a guy who's an undrafted free agent who makes the team, and you're like, whoa, this dude can play.
Austin Eckler.
And then all of a sudden in training camp, you're like, wait a second. Like, not only can he play, but like this guy might get some playing time this year. Like, we got to get him involved on special teams. And then all of a sudden somebody gets hurt and the dude gets a little playing time. You're like, this guy's a dude.
Right.
And then all of a sudden another player gets injured, or, you know, he makes a play and you're like, nah, he's now earned himself a spot on the offense or defense. And then slowly but surely it turns into an Austin Eckler. It turns into a Danny Woodhead. It turns into a Wes Welker. It turns into a player who has been written off by the NFL, but they find a home somewhere and they find an impact position on a team. It happens all the time. So nothing that's happened with Brock Purdy has changed the way talent evaluators look at the 7th round or undrafted
I'm not
free
talking
agents.
about talent evaluators. I'm talking about fans. Mr. Irrelevant has never been more irrelevant than he is now after Brock Purdy's run of success.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if the average.
I think you might be talking about a fan.
What?
His name is Ben Fletcher.
I don't know if the average fan even realizes that Brock Purdy was the last pick in the draft.
No way. Everything they say during the entire Super Bowl was from Mr. Irrelevant to Mr.
I'm
Relevant.
talking about the average, like the because you're okay. Look, of a game goes on the whatever Monday Night Football, right? And there's 15 million people that tune in for it. How many of the 15 million people that tune in are watching the game that closely?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you're going to have me who care, and I have 3 other people who are watching the game who don't care as much. They're just watching the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. For the NFL fan, I think that it's a great story for the NFL and it's a great story of like optimism when, it sort of feels like, look, most of the time a 7th round draft pick, and this actually changes nothing about the 7th round. It's basically an undrafted free agent that you have to sprinkle a couple of $10,000 on. For an NFL team, that is nothing. That is absolutely nothing in terms of cost. They'll cut a 7th rounder without thinking it. They would have cut Brock Purdy, but he showed up to camp and they kind of had a dearth at quarterback and he was performing well. And the same way I talked about that undrafted free agent receiver or running back climbing the roster, that's exactly what Brock Purdy did.
Yeah, and I think that being picked last in the draft is more meaningful than just being picked somewhere late in the draft. I mean, because my wife could probably say, oh, yeah, wasn't that the guy picked last?
Right.
But if I said, when was Tom Brady picked?
Oh,
I don't know.
no idea. When was Russell Wilson picked?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But everybody knows who's a fan of football that Brock Purdy was the last pick. I don't know if it changes much, but I do agree that it is one of the best stories out of football in a long time.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
So, okay, Denver Bronco fan.
Yep.
Travis Dale.
Yep.
Our very own TD.
Yep.
Been through a lot
Yep.
over the past 24 hours.
Yep.
Zach Wilson, now Denver Bronco.
Uh-huh.
What is your morning monologue?
Listen, I avoided all of that as much as I possibly could. I went way around it, yet somehow stayed in the sports world, because last night, as I was watching basketball, I thought, this is why we can't have nice things. This is why we can't have nice things. First of all, side note, the sound of a ball, the swish through the net, God, that's good. I mean, that is rivaling that home run bat crack. However, games like last night, 2 out of 3, nearly 67% of NBA games were a fun watch with some crazy endings. And that's why the NBA doesn't care about making the regular season any better. It doesn't matter to them, because when they get down to 2 months worth of playoffs, and so far the playoff games have been pretty damn good, they're not worried about, oh, we should shorten the season or we should do whatever it is with the season. We're not worried about the in-game or in-season tournament. We're not worried about that at all, because these playoff games are electric, and they are. And as soon as we start watching these playoff games, you start to forget about how much the regular season pissed you off.
Well, here's my problem. I agree with what you said. It's a better brand of basketball. There's no question about it. But because of the 7-game series, and again, just wringing that sponge as much as they can, it decreases the urgency even in the playoffs, to the point where a team could, and we will see it this year, we see it every year, a team could be trailing big and give up in the second half.
Yeah.
Like they'll just stop playing and conserve themselves for the next game, especially if they have a lead in the series. Like, say Denver, for example, say they roar out to a 3-0 lead in the series against the Lakers. And then all of a sudden, the scrappy Lakers put together a great first half and maybe even a great third quarter where they're leading by 30, right? A big lead. All of a sudden, Jokic and Jamal Murray might end up riding the pine for the rest of that game in the postseason. And that's what drives me crazy about the NBA. The postseason's too long, too many games. Series are too long. The regular season's too long, and it bugs me. But I agree, the opening action of these playoffs has been pretty intense, like they normally are, because if you get a healthy lead in a series, you can cruise to a finish.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I mean, I think the same thing. I think that having these 7-game series is a mistake. However, when the games are that good, it's hard to make the argument.
Yeah,
as long as it stayed that good.
These series have started good, and yeah, I'm with you. I hope they stay good. Look at that.
Makes it better for Prize Picks.
It certainly does.
Prize Picks, which is America's #1 fantasy sports app, over 3 million active members. And during the NBA postseason, you're able to use stars, which Richie utilized last night. Stars, if you include them in your lineup, will get you a 10% extra bonus payout at the end of the night. What'd you end up doing, Richie?
So I went more on LeBron James, 25.5 points. He scored 26. I went more, get this, more on a half point for Nikola Jokic. I know. It was a risk, but I was a risk I was willing to take. And yeah, it paid out big, and I'm feeling good this morning. It's been a good morning for Richie here.
And that's just some of the special promotions that Prize Picks have. Today is Taco Tuesday, which means you got to get over there so you can start figuring out the discounts that are coming up for tonight. And by the way, you could do like LeBron James and Fernando Tatis Jr. on the same entry. You can cross sports. You can go from darts to basketball to cornhole sometimes to power slap to MMA, whatever you want. It's on Prize Picks. That's what makes it sports heaven. Download the app today. Use code DOGS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code DOGS, DOGS, on Prize Picks for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Yeah, and speaking of the free iHeartRadio app, stay connected with San Diego Sports 760 no matter where you are, whether you're stepping out of your car or settling in at home. Just command your Google or Alexa smart speaker to play AM 760 or use the free iHeart app for seamless listening. It's like having your favorite station right in your pocket.
This update is presented by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. Padres take down the Rockies behind an excellent start from Dylan Cease and some late inning heroics from pinch hitter Tyler Wade, who knocked in the go-ahead run. 3 more against the Rockies in Colorado. NBA playoffs. Lakers give up a big lead in the second half. They fall to the Nuggets in Game 2 on a Jamal Murray buzzer beater. 101-99 final score there. Nuggets lead the series 2-0. Knicks take a 2-0 series lead with a win 104-101 over the Sixers in a wild game. And the Cavs beat Orlando by 10. They take a 2-0 lead. In the NFL, Jets have traded quarterback Zach Wilson to the Broncos. Experience auto enjoyment today and see why Lexus Carlsbad has won the Elite of Lexus Award 25 times for customer service and save with Lexus Lease Cash on select models through April 30th. See details at LexusCarlsbad.com or visit Lexus Carlsbad today.
We still got that pair of tickets to go see Indoor Football League San Diego Strike Force. Hard hits and a ton of fun for families and friends happening Sunday, April 28th against the Bay Area Panthers. SDStrikeforce.com for tickets and info, or keep it locked in right here because in the next few minutes we're going to be giving those away. Right, Fletch?
We also said that about Luke Bryan tickets. We haven't done that yet.
Oh, we haven't done Luke Bryan tickets yet.
Yeah, Rich has promised it 2 segments in a row. You know what? If you want to win Luke Bryan tickets, call right now.
Wow.
877-767-4760. And then we'll do the Indoor Strike Force a little bit later on.
How about that? Luke Bryan tickets right now. Look at Fletch just pulling the trigger, making it happen as we wait for the phone
Rich
lines.
teased it twice the last 2 segments.
So
We didn't give it away.
People were
time.
hanging on for
Yeah.
Luke Bryan tickets. Yeah, it's a big deal. Big deal. Hey, coming up a little bit later on the show, we're going to be doing Four Corners with newsman John Fink. He's going to be joining us. And we also, Mike Tyson has released a new video that, I mean, I have questions.
He
We'll
looks
get to all that.
scary.
Dude, he looks way scary.
Like,
but
I feel like he is still lethal.
I agree. But I mean, you could outrun him.
I couldn't.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. What are you talking about? You're on wheels. You're so fast in that thing now.
Before we get into anything else, a couple stats coming out of golf right now that are insane. We talked about the Tiger Rory
Mhm.
like virtual golf league thing,
Mm-hmm.
but Tiger Woods may be in danger of losing one of his records. So Scotty Scheffler, who has now won back-to-back tournaments, the Masters and the RBC, his lead in the world rankings, and golf has it where every tournament's weighted a little bit differently, but you get points and you get some taken away. His lead in the world rankings right now over number 2, who is Rory McIlroy, is bigger than Rory McIlroy, who again is number 2. His lead over number 784 Tiger Woods. So the gap between 1 and 2 is bigger than the gap between 2 and 784. Also, to catch Tiger's record of total weeks at world number 1, Scotty Scheffler, who's been number 1 for the last 73 weeks, Scheffler would need to hold the top spot until October of 2035.
So
Yeah.
Tiger
Good
Woods
luck.
in danger. In danger.
Yeah, he's going to have his records fall. I mean, Scotty Scheffler is nipping at his heels. The other thing that I mentioned, we were talking about this a little bit at break earlier in the show, was the fact that Tiger Woods oftentimes on Sundays at these tournaments had such a dominating lead over the rest of the field. Like it would be Tiger Woods at the top of the scoreboard or the leaderboard. And you would look at the number 2 golfer. He would have like 14 or 15 strokes on the next golfer. And so unless he had a complete, and I mean complete meltdown in the final round, there was nobody who could even feasibly catch him. And oftentimes he added to the lead. So Sunday Tiger was a thing, but also Thursday, Friday, and Saturday Tiger was a thing too. I don't think anybody will ever catch Tiger Woods in terms of the dominant streak he had over golf.
Doesn't feel like it in our lifetime,
No.
at least, right? I mean, he just seems so good. He was so good. It wasn't just that he seemed so good.
And also, since golf has changed so much, it's going to be difficult to compare golfers because you have live golf that's stealing players away for portions of the season. So we may miss the prime years of some of these golfers' opportunities to even compete with the sort of numbers that Tiger Woods put up in the PGA, because a lot of the most talented golfers have been stolen away, at least for now, by live golf. So we'll see where that storyline goes. We'll see where these NBA playoffs go. If you watched last night, the Lakers fell to the Nuggets, much closer game than game 1, but still lost. So now the Lakers trail Denver 2-0 in that series. We also have the Clippers coming up tonight, 1-0 lead in that series over the Mavericks. No Kawhi Leonard. He won't be available, it seems, at least, very least, for this series, if not much longer. So I I don't know if they're going to have the gumption or the fortitude to do what they did in game one. James Harden played otherworldly. But if they do, what does it say about Kawhi? It's kind of the question we asked coming out of the weekend. But, you start to think to yourself like, man, you're paying that guy a lot of money. And obviously he's a foundational cornerstone type piece to this franchise. But if they go on a deep run here in the playoffs, what does it do to his legacy in LA?
So after what we talked about yesterday, I thought about it last night and I was thinking, okay, but we've talked also about the fact that everybody in the playoffs has looked different than they looked in the regular season. So yes, the Clippers have looked better than when they had Kawhi in the regular season, but also everybody's looked a little bit better in the postseason because they're actually trying hard. I don't think, now that I've worked this over my brain of brains, that if Kawhi Leonard comes back, it will look substantially worse. I think it'll look substantially better because Kawhi Leonard is that type of player. His skill set is so unique in the fact that he's such a good defensive player and a beyond world offensive player as well now, that Kawhi cannot hurt the Clippers by coming back. And I think it's a little ridiculous that we were talking about it that way yesterday, because I didn't take into account the fact that regular season basketball is so different than postseason basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think it changes anything. He's back. He will be back is what I'm saying. And that's the end of it. We won't talk about it again from that point on. But the reason you question it is because all of a sudden they look like they're a well-oiled machine when he wasn't in the lineup. So that's why you bring it up. That's why all of a sudden you go, well, wait a minute, are they better without Kawhi? And I mean, the truth of the matter is, you're not. I mean, even if you look better out there, you're not. I mean, are the Padres better without Juan Soto? I would like to have Juan Soto out on the field.
Yeah, look, in my opinion, again, I asked the question, I posed the question. It doesn't mean I necessarily agree with where the question leads. In my opinion, I think the Clippers are better with Kawhi. However, if in actuality they do have success without, the question is available to ask. And so it's worth asking. It's worth mulling. I think they're better with Kawhi. I think they missed him even with a victory over the Mavericks in game one. There was at one point a lead as big as 29 points, but with him unavailable because of that right knee, there was something obvious that was lacking. I mean, and Paul George showed up in the final 2 minutes. The first half from James Harden was masterful. He, like I said, it looked like he rewound the clock like 8 years. It was a great performance from James Harden. Can that sustain? The answer is we don't know yet, but most likely not. In terms of Paul George, he's more of a Robin role to Kawhi's Batman. I mean, Kawhi wanted to sort of feather the bed and get Paul George signed in LA before he agreed to coming to the Clippers. And so he forced that deal to occur, very similar with LeBron and AD, and I think that was smart because he needed a supporting cast. I don't think Paul George is the star that can carry this roster. I do think that Kawhi Leonard is still that guy. If the injuries are piling up and mounting, especially as we get into the postseason, we'll see what happens if he can return from this knee and sustain.
Yeah, and that was the first private jet watch, too, when we were tracking Kawhi Leonard and Paul George's jets as they were coming into LA. I remember that being very fun. Last night, huge drama in the Knicks and Sixers game. The final 39 seconds we have the audio of, because it was a fever dream, and it really was. And Mike Breen was on the call, who would be the best guy for that. Rare double bang in the last 39 seconds of the...
Doesn't happen often.
No, of the Sixers-Knicks game.
I mean,
so the
you get chills.
controversy on the play where it was a loose ball and it was a mad dash for everything, there was clearly a jersey grab from the Knicks on a Sixers defender or the guy who was going after the ball. And that was what LeBron James referenced in his post game. So the refereeing all of a sudden has become forefront in this NBA playoffs. I'm here for it. Let them foul each other in the final seconds of a game when nobody has clear control of where the ball is going. If it's a loose ball, you should be allowed to tackle.
Well, on a basketball court, well, here's the deal. this is playoff basketball. This is the way it should look like. It's what we clamor for during the regular season, that players play with this level of care and hunger. And so I agree with you for the most part. I think what LeBron James is missing is this is what the fans want, is exciting finishes and more physical basketball. Like LeBron James, for as great as he is, and I think he's the greatest of all time, I think he's better than Jordan. It's my opinion. I know that's highly subjective, but I've never seen anything like LeBron James on a basketball court. Having said that, he plays a much softer type of basketball than Michael Jordan played. And it's a worse brand of basketball. I don't like it as much.
Right.
So with due respect to the player who I think is the greatest of all time, I think he's way off on this because he's used to the kinder, softer NBA who calls the grazing foul. Whereas back in the 90s and the early 2000s, guys would literally have wrestling matches under the hoop for rebounds.
Jordan rules, baby.
A guy like Dennis Rodman could not play in today's NBA. Dennis Rodman, arguably one of the greatest defenders of all time.
No, I agree.
Steph Curry ruined the sport.
I don't think that's true. I don't think it's true. I think the amount of power that the players have ruined the sport. I think when the pendulum swings way too far to one side, all of a sudden you have a worse product, and that's exactly what happened. The players have way too much power.
Bring a little hockey into this, okay? Not like full on let them fight, but let's just say just like they use timeouts, you get 3 punches a game, okay? You can just swing once. We're going to use that. That's our first punch. You get 2 more. I think it'd bring a lot to the sport.
Yeah. Definitely agree with you.
You know what brought a lot to us was some knowledge, some know-how on how to lose weight, okay? Because we tried it on our own. We tried some next level fit guy stuff. Turns out it didn't work out great.
Nope.
No. Now, we did lose a few pounds, but as soon as we stopped whatever fat diet we were doing, we gained it all back and then a couple more. In fact, by the time we got to SD Fat Loss, by the time they got to us, I should say, we were in the worst shape we've ever been in our lives, okay? It was not good. Look, I needed to lose weight. I need to lose weight quickly. I know that's a complaint that we hear a lot from a lot of people of like, look, I want to lose weight, but I just can't do it. You can with SD Fat Loss. I thought that losing 20 to 30 pounds in 8 weeks' time was an insurmountable task. I thought, oh my God, what's going to happen here is I'm going to sign up for SD Fat Loss and they're going to go, well, I mean, good job. You lost a few pounds. That wasn't the case. I mean, within the first week, I was down over 10 pounds. Before day 30, I was down 28 pounds. So by the time that 8 weeks rolled around, down 31 pounds, I was absolutely ecstatic. I can do it. You can do it as well. But here's the kicker. You don't just lose the weight and then gain it back like these fad diets. You don't do that. You keep the weight off. They show you how to keep the weight off. That's the dirty secret here with SD Fat Loss because, look, they want it to work for you, and it will work for you. And they want it to work so bad that they're willing to give you $200 off right now. Woo! If you mention Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. So go there. It's a free consultation. They're going to take care of you. SD Fat Loss, sdfatloss.com. Go there right now.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. So, quick shout out to Eric, our main man who's riding a mowing tractor, trimming the fairways over at Coronado. We know you've been listening for a long time in the mornings. Glad you're on board with us. And
as soon as my leg heals, Eric, we're golfing together, buddy.
Yeah, there's no question. We'll be at Coronado soon, and many, many golf courses near you in San Diego.
Still not sure why you have to wait till the leg heals, though.
That's the point. You could play it just like polo.
Right.
You know, like almost like you're riding a horse and
just never stop moving.
I would love to go to the golf course like tomorrow.
That'd be great. We could do it.
You know what? We only need one cart because you could just hang on.
Oh my God.
And you'd be like sidecar.
It's actually not a terrible idea. If your game, we are, Fletch, and plus we could post it on social media.
That's right. And we have an in with Eric.
That's right. Yeah, we got a guy who's willing. All right. So NFL draft really just hours away, comes up on Thursday. That's quickly approaching. There's a lot of storylines that are bouncing around. Like, for example, what the LA Chargers decide to do with pick number 5 is going to tell us a lot about Jim Harbaugh's offensive philosophy. So let's talk about that, right? You know, Jim Harbaugh, what do we know about him? With the Niners, strong run game supplemented by a very good passing game as well. But the run game was everything.
Honestly, the first thing that popped in my head was homeless.
He's living in an RV. Also, when he went to the University of Michigan, Blake Corum was a Heisman candidate. JJ McCarthy was not. The reason, because the Michigan Wolverines, they like to run themselves the football, and he built that offensive line. So say the Chargers at number 5 go offensive tackle. It tells you one thing. Say the Chargers go wide receiver. It tells you another thing.
Which there should be one great wide receiver available at 5. So Marvin Harrison Jr. might not get to 5, but Malik Neighbors, who was out of LSU, who put up crazy stats a year ago, is projected to be the second wide receiver off the board. He should be there at 5. Now, if the Chargers trade that pick, will that be a story that we find out about tomorrow, or will that be a story we find out about when the Chargers are on the clock?
Yeah, I'm curious about that as well, because that's another thing that the Chargers tell us. If they decide to move around and trade that pick and they bring somebody else in, I think they trade down.
And one of those teams that could trade down to has an enormous storyline attached to them, and that's the Minnesota Vikings.
Right.
So what the Vikings do with their pick, whether they trade up or they stay at 11, tells you a lot about what their philosophy is going to be moving forward. The most important question they need to answer is who the hell is throwing passes to Justin Jefferson, who's arguably, if not the best receiver in the NFL right now. Justin Jefferson, right now, his starting quarterback is Sam Darnold. So
would you rather Sam Darnold or Zach Wilson?
Sam Darnold.
You'd rather have Sam Darnold?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, same. In fact, he
just look at the stats. I mean, he's a way better quarterback so far in his career. Well, Zach Wilson doesn't have a bad arm. He's just, if you look at what he's done in the NFL,
but they both had issues. Remember Sam Darnold talked about seeing ghosts?
Yes, but you're not remembering a moment. Go back and look at his stats. Sam Darnold, I mean,
he was a Niner last year. I love Sam Darnold, but
he almost took the starting position.
No, he didn't.
It was so close.
When I'm looking at the two, I don't see that much of a difference.
The start of last season, Shanahan was saying, we could have a spot open here in the quarterback position. Sam Darnold could take it.
Let's put it this way. You can win with Sam Darnold. You could not win. You could not win with Zach Wilson. I'm not saying you can win consistently with Sam Darnold, but in terms of like who I would rather as my backup quarterback, Sam Darnold. Now, and also that does have something to do with experience. I mean, Zach Wilson, I don't know how we got down this path. It's just it's not germane to the conversation. But Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm really curious where he ends up going, because it's going to tell you a lot about where the NFL is. Like, this guy could go as high as the 3rd overall pick. I mean, wide receivers, it can't be overstated how important they've become in this game and how quickly that's happened. Because it wasn't long ago when running backs ruled the first round, and now it's completely flipped. The NFL has changed rules to highlight the passing game. These NFL teams, they're aware of it. And so everybody is just surrounding their quarterbacks with talent. And it's a real thing. I mean, 3rd overall, I mean, we could see potentially in the top 10 like 3 or 4 wide receivers go.
It's incredible. It's incredible,
Yeah.
especially in a draft class that is stacked with QBs. So if you're talking about a wide receiver going as high as number 3, that blows my mind. I mean, because there's 3 quarterbacks right off the top that I would think people would want.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it was trade value.
Well, and you have 3 teams who are quarterback needy right there at the top of the draft. Like the New England Patriots very easily could draft a quarterback and nobody would have any complaints about it. In fact, I think a lot of New England fans would be thrilled about it. But then you look at Marvin Harrison and you say, well, he's also a thrilling player who can really help you contend as long as he has somebody who can connect with him. Is that Bailey Zappi, though? Is it Jacoby Brissett? I mean, because that's right now the Patriots.
Good Lord,
Quarterbacks.
Yeah. No, I don't see that working. I just don't see that as the person at the helm for the Patriots. They have to get a quarterback in my eyes.
And then just in general, the buzz around the NFL draft. And we got to run. And those Luke Bryan tickets, by the way,
they're give them away.
Yeah, we did it. What you stepped out, we were like, you know what? Here we go.
Fantastic. Yeah. We got him coming up tomorrow as well, is what I was going to say, fellas.
That's right. Oh, yeah, exactly.
We gave them away today already, but if you want them, you can get them tomorrow as well.
We do have Strike Force tickets.
You're damn right.
You want to do those right now?
Well, we might as well.
All right. Let's give our app listeners a shot here. So why don't we say at 7:58 on the money? Be calling number 5-877-767-4760. And you're going to win a pair of tickets to go see the San Diego Strike Force take on the Bay Area Panthers on April 28th. SDStrikeforce.com for tickets and info.
So I was just going to say the buzz on this year's draft, and we'll get to this on the other side. It's a little strange. And there's a recent comparison that we have in terms of numbers and ratings. And we'll make that comparison coming up next. Also, NBA playoffs up and running. It looks like the Lakers could be an early bounce. We'll get to that story. And what the Padres did in Colorado, well, they made history. At least one guy did. All that next. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Before we run, also, I want to talk to you about my dentist, my doctor, Dr. Jordan Colby of Ocean View Dental. This man is a miracle worker. You've heard me talk about him in the past. I had an extensive amount of dental work to be done, and the only person I would trust to do it was Dr. Jordan Colby, and the only person I'm going to trust to do any of my dental work moving forward is Dr. Jordan Colby, and it's because he has award-winning technology. He has top-of-the-line research capabilities. The guy has been featured in Southern California. In fact, he's one of these doctors who actually holds clinics to teach other doctors how to be better at doctoring. That's how good of a dentist he is. I just enjoy the family atmosphere the most. When you walk in there, everybody knows your name. And it's not just because I'm talking about him on the radio. I see this with every single patient who walks in there. It's a warm, inviting environment. It's great for family. If you want to bring your family to one dentist, Dr. Jordan Colby should be your dentist. That's where my family goes. That's who I trust with my kids' teeth, and that's who you should trust as well. OceanViewDental.net is where you can book your first appointment or just check out some of his work. He posts pictures of before and after. So if you have a major dental issue that you need fixed, you look no further than Ocean View Dental at OceanViewDental.net.
This update is presented by the County of San Diego Health and Human Services Agency. We will start off with the Padres, who beat the Rockies yesterday behind an excellent start from Dylan Cease, some late inning heroics from Tyler Wade. He knocked in the go-ahead run, 3 more against the Rockies in Colorado. NBA playoffs, Lakers gave up a big lead in the second half. They lose to the Nuggets in Game 2 on a Jamal Murray buzzer beater. 101-99 final score. Nuggets lead 2-0. Knicks take a 2-0 series lead with the win 104-101 over the Sixers. Wild finish there. And Cavs beat Orlando by 10 to take a 2-0 lead. In the NFL, Jets trade quarterback Zach Wilson to the Broncos for pennies on the dollar for what they got him for. Every team deserves a home that will support them, providing a consistent place to live where they can thrive and mature. Any individual, couple, or family can be eligible to become a foster family. Visit sdcares4kids.com for more details.
Big Rich, Didi, and Fletch, welcome to your Tuesday, and happy Tuesday to those who celebrate. If you're waking up with us this morning on the free iHeartRadio app, we thank you for that. If you haven't downloaded it yet, go ahead and do so, because we have this fun feature called the Talkback feature. It's the microphone button next to the play button. If you ever want to yell at us, send us a comment, a question, anything, you could use the Talkback feature. At least basically what amounts to a voicemail for us. We could play it on air. It's a voice memo for us to hear your voice and for you to hear yourself on air. So if you ever want to play with that, it's available for you on the free iHeartRadio app. Okay, so a lot happening in the state of Colorado, specifically the city of Denver. The town is buzzing.
I think they just voted to defund the police. Is that what we're going to talk about?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to actually go now live to the chief of police in Denver, Colorado. No, I'm kidding. We have the Denver Nuggets with a 2-0 lead over the Lakers in the NBA playoffs. We've got the Colorado Rockies struggling to start their regular season. It continues against the Padres. Dylan Cease had a gem of performance. We're going to get back to that. But the topic du jour is the Denver Broncos, who traded for Zach Wilson, improving their chances to have the NFL's hottest MILF in their stands by 100%.
Is there a hotter MILF? I'm just saying, like, we don't know of any.
Well, I guess a player's mom, because there are plenty of players' wives who are also moms.
True.
But if there are hotter moms out there in terms of players, I haven't seen them yet.
Then hit us up with the talkback feature. No, I mean, I would say Zach Wilson's mom will definitely be at every game. They're very supportive. As soon as it was announced, all of a sudden, their whole house was broncoed out.
Dude, Lisa Wilson, if you're listening to the show, and we know you are, call in.
Right.
877-767-4760. We'd love to hear from you. And we'd love to just rap about, like, what you think the Denver Broncos are going to do with Zach Wilson in a Sean Payton offense.
Or like, what's the latest thing you've pinned to your Pinterest wall?
Any good baking recipes, whatever.
Part of me feels
decorating
bad for Zach Wilson, who's worked his whole life to become like an NFL draft pick. He was number 2 overall. That feels like a success. He leads BYU, all these crazy things that he did in college. And then he gets to the NFL, he sucks. And also, if you Google his name, the first thing that pops up isn't Zach Wilson football or Zach Wilson Jets or Zach Wilson Broncos. It's Zach Wilson mom. Right. That's got to be a low in life, isn't it?
Well, he also allegedly had relations with his mom's friend.
Which, dude, I mean, okay.
Good on him.
Zach Wilson.
Oh, now all of a sudden you're on board.
But
His mom's friend is hot.
Time out.
When was I ever not on board with this?
I mean, with Zach Wilson.
I'm signaling a quick 30 to the scorers table because the Zach Wilson we know now pales in comparison to the Zach Wilson who was on the on-ramp to his NFL career.
Oh, you remember his pro day?
Dude, hot girlfriend. Smoke show. And then turns out he breaks up with that chick. And the reason why you find out he broke up with her is because he was sleeping with his mom's friend, who's also a dime. And then he's the second overall pick to the New York Jets. And you're like, whoa, the MILF hunter is going to be in New York? Do you know how many cougars live in Manhattan? I mean,
or in Central Park?
Oh, my God. They're wild.
Wow, they are wild.
So
jogging.
We were just like, gosh, this guy is going to clean up. And if he ends up, if he ends up being good at football, my goodness gracious, he could go on a run like we've never seen.
Move over Derek Jeter.
That's right.
There's going to have to be some Zach Wilson gift baskets made.
So it didn't work out. And since 2021, the returns on the Zach Wilson draft pick are so poor that the Denver Broncos actually have to pay some of, or excuse me, the New York Jets actually have to pay some of the money on his contract to go play for half of the training camp bonus. Have to pay half of the training camp bonus for Zach Wilson's contract as he goes and he plays for the Denver Broncos.
And where he's playing is right now, as of if you look at the Denver Bronco roster, he's the starter in Denver.
Yeah.
Right now. Now, it doesn't feel like that remains the case. I mean, as soon as I saw it, I thought, cool, man, you traded for a backup. But there's just no way. There's just no way. The Broncos need to draft a quarterback. Now, here's the problem. You're going to have to start that drafted rookie quarterback immediately.
It does feel that way. Right. It does feel that way. And who knows, maybe Sean Payton is a quarterback whisperer of lengths that we don't really understand quite yet. Like maybe he got, let's put it this way. He got something out of Russell Wilson, which also is an interesting storyline to add to this, like bake into the equation. So the Denver Broncos are paying part of Russell Wilson's contract as he goes to the Steelers.
Right.
And the Jets are paying part of Zach Wilson's contract as he goes to the Denver Broncos. So it's almost like fair game is turnabout. Like, they're all sort of paying the wrong guy.
Right.
Which is it comes full circle.
What number does Zach Wilson wear? Is it 2?
I don't know. I don't know that.
I wonder if he's going to go with 3, then they don't have to change any of the jerseys.
He is 2. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, maybe that's
just Wilson on the back. We ordered 1,000 of these, so whoever we get in has to be Wilson.
Oh my God, that's actually a really good point. It's a really good point. We were just talking about this with Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts. Kirk wanted to wear his 8 that he's worn his whole career with the Falcons, but they're like, gosh, we're gonna have to go ahead and burn all the rest of these Kyle Pitts number 8 Falcons jerseys. Would you mind wearing a different number? And he was like, yeah, that's cool.
No, they told him he was gonna have to pay some portion of like $1 million. It was like hundreds of thousands of dollars for him to switch to the 8 jersey because he had to buy the rest of the Kyle Pitts.
That doesn't make any sense. Though.
When I read the article, it didn't make sense to me, but I guess that was what was laid down. No, that's why Kirk Cousins is not number 8.
But I just think so if he was number 8, they're like, sorry, has to say Pitts on the back. What we have hit our ordering limit on number 8.
That's a strange one. We'll dive into that story a little bit later on. Also, we'll get back to the Padres, their dominant victory over those Colorado Rockies, really more of a defensive effort. We'll get into Dylan Cease's night last night. But before we do any of that, we have to talk to our very special news correspondent. And we will right after this.
Well, the Padres absolutely dominate the Rockies yesterday up in Denver. They win 3-1. They play again tonight, 5:40 first pitch. We've been talking about it all morning here out in Denver. The Broncos got rid of one Wilson, but they felt like they needed another. They traded for what was supposed to be a franchise quarterback for the Jets, Zach Wilson. Here's some audio of Denver fans reacting to the trade. A Florida trapper says that he was in a hockey game with his family and he got a call that an alligator needed to be removed from a nearby neighborhood out in Jacksonville that was absolutely wreaking havoc on the neighborhood. But he couldn't get there because, he's with his family at a hockey game. Well, never fear. Some guy named Mike Dragic, an MMA fighter, he was like, I can trap a gator.
No way.
He went out in the middle of the street. There's video of him wrestling an 8-foot alligator into submission, completely trapped it. By the way, wasn't wearing shoes.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
If there's one animal I'm not fighting, even if you paid me, it's an alligator.
I honestly feel like I could probably take an alligator.
You ever seen that show Gator Boys? Used to be on Animal Planet.
No way.
Yeah.
Can we sign up for that?
Badass.
I
For
remember
Gator Boys?
watching a alligator show where it was in like the bayous of Louisiana, where they just shot gators in the head with like a pump action sawed off shotgun.
Fine.
The one I
Normal.
saw, it was gator wrestling.
They would like drag
they
them
would
on.
Take the what's it called? The when a species isn't supposed to be there. Invasive.
Invasive.
gator.
Thank you, John Fink.
And they would wrestle them, tie them up, and take them to
Mhm.
somewhere where they were not invasive.
I think because now the opening power of the gator isn't nearly as strong as the closing power. So if I get on top of him and grab that snout,
I remember
he's not biting me.
the show I'm talking about. The show is Swamp People.
Oh yeah.
So they would go around on these fan boats, and they would literally stack gators like 6 to 8 high on the back of their fan boat. Bill, I got that gator, and they would tie up an alligator or like a chicken, a full chicken, and submerge it tied to like the limb of a tree. And when a gator bit it, it would just get stuck there because I'd have a hook on the chicken, and then they would just drive up to the the limb that was leaning into the water. They'd pull the rope. They get the gator close to the boat and then blast it through the skull with a shotgun.
Totally
and
normal.
Then drag it onto the fan boat.
Totally fine.
And they're like, listen, we are living large down here in the swamp bayou.
We gotta make some boots.
Yeah.
Gotta make some boots. In the NBA, the Knicks chlorophyll, more like Borophyll, Philadelphia 104-101. Cleveland continented or Lando 96-86 landmass joke, everybody. You're welcome.
Tectonic plate action.
Yeah. And the Lakers got 3 musketeered by the Nuggets 101-99. Oh, please. Golly.
Little word play.
Wow. Thank you.
And with that,
We tape them underwater.
then gators.
We were watching Gators here. There was some Gator sound.
We welcome in John Fink, our Four Corners news correspondent. So we used to do this without John Fink, and
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, we had no idea what we were missing because we welcome in a professional newsman every week to give us the best stories from the four corners of the map, the stories that we didn't know we needed to know.
Yes. Quotes around professional.
Right. Yeah.
From the Four Corners News Desk, I'm John Fink. We're going to start off with some sad news in Oklahoma where a friend killed his friend while they were out fishing because he was afraid that he was going to get fed to the Bigfoots.
Yeah. We saw this
Oh,
one. Yeah.
yes.
No. Very, very good. We don't know the particulars though. What actually happened here? So they were out fishing.
They were
right?
out fishing. Well,
Okay.
technically they were out noodling,
Oh,
which is very different from
Wait.
fishing,
Wait,
in my opinion.
depends on what noodling.
I'm-
Wait, is noodling when you stick your hand in
Yeah.
the mud?
Yes, you stick your hand in the mud, pretend it's a little worm,
Uh-huh.
and then the catfish just grabs onto
Yeah.
your whole hand, and then you just come out and just like waving that thing around.
I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
That seems
I'm out.
like
You're
I would-
telling me going underneath murky pond water,
Mhm.
sticking your arm into an underwater hole, and then just flicking your thumb around until something bites you. You're not into that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because hot girls do it now too.
Yeah, there are.
Wait, there are?
Yes,
super
yes,
sexy.
there.
Yeah.
It's a trendy
Hold on,
thing.
hold
now.
on.
Oh,
Now we
sure.
gotta
Wearing
look.
next to nothing.
I just typed in sexy noodling. Do not.
Oh,
that's
wow.
the wrong search.
That is going to change your algorithm real quick.
That's the wrong
Wow.
search.
Oh, they do it in bikinis. God,
Yes,
those are
they
big
are.
catfish. My
Well,
God.
apparently
Yeah.
he did put his friend in a chokehold, which wound up killing him. And the fear was that he had seen 3 Sasquatch-looking figures by the river, and his friend was going to sacrifice him to the Bigfoot family.
Oh my god.
Uh,
Oh my
I
god.
feel like
Yes.
it's justified. That's a
Yeah,
justified
I mean,
murder. Yeah.
You know, we always know that Bigfoot creatures are big human eaters.
This is
So-
why I
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
say if you're gonna take psilocybin, do it with someone you can trust.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
As
Because-
Timothy Leary says, 51% of the trip is set and setting. So, yes.
What else we got here, John?
Well, we've got a mega release of cicadas coming up here. 2 different broods of cicadas. You know, they release out of the ground every 13 or 17 years. This year, 2 separate broods of cicadas are going to emerge, brood 19 and brood 13, which will cover all of Georgia and the Southeast and Illinois. The strange thing about these 2 broods that are released, they are both infected by a fungal pathogen, which makes them hypersexual. Sweet. And it has them try to mate even after they are done mating, and it also releases amphetamines into their system.
Okay,
Wow. So
check
like,
this
once
out.
they start,
They
can't
it's like
stop.
Pringles. They just
Yeah,
can't stop.
yeah.
So we're gonna have a bunch of methed up cicadas trying to
Yes.
ear bang you
Yeah.
in
Yes.
Georgia.
Pretty much exactly that.
I'll tell you what, that sounds
What?
like a
Yeah,
country
I'll tell you
music song.
It also kind of sounds like the start of The Last of Us.
oh yeah,
Because you know how some people like to eat cicadas. That's like a thing.
I got
Chocolate covered
It
ear
is?
cicadas.
banged in
Oh, yeah.
Georgia.
by a cicada.
Yeah.
No, a cicada different
Sure,
than a
that was-
locust.
Sure,
Though.
that's
Yes,
a
they
story.
are. Because
Okay.
locusts don't burrow underground and stay for 13 to 17 years. That's part of a cicada life cycle.
Man,
Yeah.
how lazy are you if you're just buried underground for
That's right.
13 years?
Also, kind of scary to just be digging around.
Have you guys
Oh,
seen?
yeah.
Have you guys seen a cicada?
They're terrifying.
So we used to get them in New York, and when they come out, it's strange, man. Every single tree is covered with them. And
Yes.
then what happens is they make this, like, it almost sounds like aliens communicating with each other. It's like a
Wow.
and then it spreads from tree to tree to tree to tree all the way down the block. It's really creepy.
I'm terrified.
And then eventually they all die, and it's usually around the same time. And so the ground is covered with dead cicadas. It's really
Delightful.
trippy.
Yes.
I just Googled sexy cicadas.
Oh,
really
Why
not
would
a lot
you
going on there.
do that.
Well, we
Yeah.
looked up sexy noodling, so I figured I'd look up cicadas as
I'll
well.
tell you
Alright.
what, I'm still
Yeah.
on the sexy noodling. Look at the whiskers on this one.
Oh, and then there's a fish in the photo too.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
I was
weird.
showing you about the catfish,
Yeah, the
John.
catfish. Oh, I'm so
Good.
sorry.
Oh wait, what are we watching on the
Oh,
screen here?
Oh, we're
we-
watching.
oh,
Oh,
cicadas.
oh,
Yeah, those are nasty looking.
yes.
Yeah.
And after they mate, apparently the entire back end of them explodes.
Good.
Okay.
And
good.
oh god,
my
they're
God,
crawling all
yeah.
over his
Oh, dude,
hands.
okay,
Oh,
okay, so check this out. The other, this sounds so violent, but I promise you, if you ever seen these bugs, you would want to do this too. When we were kids,
no, come on,
Oh.
dish.
we used to have cicada fights. So the 1 or 2 summers where this happened, where I was a little kid, you could they were on every tree, so they would be climbing up the trunks of trees, and you could pull them off the trees and heave them at each other.
Good.
And they've got some heft to them.
Oh,
right?
dude, yeah, they're like, I mean, they're kind of a weighty bug.
Did you guys ever tie a string around a June bug?
Never.
Oh,
I know a friend that did that.
yeah.
And they
we
would
used
like
to do
glue
that.
little jewels to the back of it and be
Oh,
like,
we
that's
never
their
did that.
accessory.
Oh, we didn't do that. We it was. I mean, take a piece of thread.
I have
And you
very
basically
crafty
make
friends.
like a little lasso, and then you would
Yeah.
just put it around the head of a June bug, and they'd start flying around. You could just hold the
Be like
string
your
taut.
friend for the day.
I
What?
hate to bring us back to the first story again, but
Oh, dear.
I now subscribe to 3 different YouTube channels revolving around sexy noodling,
Oh.
girls grabbing fish.
Wow.
That's the name
Wow.
of the
This is
Hannah Barron is now my favorite. Hot girl catches giant catfish
Wow.
is one of her best.
Do they still have all their fingers? That's the thing I'm curious about.
wow.
Wow, dude,
Uh,
yeah, all of these ladies have all of their fingers. And how about this one? Sexygirlsfishing.com.
Yeah,
Whoa.
hot women fishing apparently is a thing. Wait, hold on. Now we're
Yeah,
watching.
now we're watching this.
noodling live.
Live
Yeah,
noodling,
wow,
everybody.
Listen,
That's Hannah Barron.
that's she's maybe the most famous noodler.
I like this.
I mean,
Let's do some murky water.
live
But that
noodling
guy-
girls, everybody.
Isn't that-
Live noodling girls.
There's a guy who is now. Oh, he's got a fish on his hand.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
he's has successfully noodled a fish.
I'll tell you right now,
He's wearing gloves though.
God.
That seems like it's cheap.
doesn't
Yeah.
it seem like they're shooting a different kind of video? Like, this doesn't look like the start of a fishing
No,
video.
Yeah.
no, not.
It was
not
like 2
whatsoever.
different photo shoots were
Yeah.
like next to each other, like, hey, you guys want to join up? You guys want to hang out?
I just
Why
met
is that guy
this-
so ripped? By the way.
Noodling's hard
Have
work.
you seen some of the wounds that they'll get? Like when
Yeah.
the catfish chomps down, like they'll have full arm circles around the teeth of a catfish.
Have you guys ever
No
had
way.
catfish?
delicious?
I mean,
Delicious.
years and years ago.
So, my family from Arkansas,
Yeah.
during funerals, when we head out to Arkansas,
Oh, it's a good funeral food.
right after the funeral, we head out to like the catfish buffet. There's like 30 different kinds of catfish.
Okay.
Yeah, it ain't that good.
You
That's all
don't
I'm
like
saying.
Yeah.
I like
It's a little
this.
gamey.
Wow.
It's really-
Hold on.
Oh my
What
goodness.
in the-
Okay.
Wait,
You guys
By the
are-
way, catfish noodling has turned into porn with friends. Another segment we do here on Big Rich TV.
Oh
and Flesh.
well, hey,
Right.
sign me up.
you know what? I'm going to write that down for our meeting after
Porn
the
with
show.
Good to know.
Sorry, go
It's
on.
all right.
What else we got, John Fink?
Well, finally, we have the world's first commercial scale factory that is turning human waste into sustainable aviation fuel.
Why?
Biofuel company
Why?
Firefly plans to develop the
Of
plant in
course.
Harwich, Essex, and hopes to deliver fuel by 2028. The best. Oh my goodness. Oh my.
That guy's not using his arm.
That's a different kind of noodling
tell
there,
you
Rich.
right Hold on.
I'm concerned for his safety.
Hold on. Just as we digress back now to male noodling,
Oh,
but back to this company that turns
Yes.
human waste into aviation fuel.
yes.
They went with the name Firefly.
Firefly, and you're going to
Oh,
love
God.
this. They did partner with a Hungarian airline already, appropriately enough, called Wizz Air.
Of course. Good Lord.
What? So,
Listen,
So chemtrails, let's talk about it.
Hang on. Okay, can you imagine
Yes.
if all of a sudden your plane doesn't take off and it's because of routine maintenance,
Yes.
and all of a sudden along the wings of the plane you see several workers just peeing into the fuel
Yes.
tanks?
Or just backing up some porta potties
Huh.
right over and just like squeezing them like a big orange juice kind of
Good
thing.
God. Good God. This is an editorial, right?
Uh,
I mean, of course.
yeah,
Yeah, we read this in an editorial.
Yes.
My goodness, this sounds really dumb. Like what? Why?
Well, you know,
like, hey, you
in
know
the
what?
spirit of Earth Day, in the environment, let's
Well, but I mean, why not try to find something that's less gross to turn into aviation fuel? Why does
No,
it have to be
screw
human
this.
waste?
I want those little hoverboards to be, gas powered, like actually fueled by farts. I want
Yes.
it all.
well, the interesting thing is, if you have a lot of these cars and stuff now are powered by vegetable oil, and when you're behind them, they smell like French fries.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Dude,
Oh.
there's no,
Oh.
this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
This is not a good idea.
But the dude who made the car that ran off of water, he got killed.
Yeah, I heard about it. Big
Yeah.
conspiracy
Wow.
theory.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's in
on.
you got to go into the dark web.
That's right.
Bare knuckle babes.
Oh my.
See, this is what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
And then there's noodling.
Wow.
if you get down to it, noodling should be a bigger sport.
Yes, in the Olympics.
My
Yeah.
God.
Hey, guys, gentlemen, we
oh
did it
my.
again. Oh wow, she's
Wow.
really
Oh,
stru-
she's taking shots.
struggling with
Wow.
that fish. Man,
Oh, I wasn't looking up.
he's got the gills right
Well,
on her.
I'm concerned for her safety.
Same.
It's a massive fish.
John
Look at
Fink,
that.
you've
Well,
done it
Yeah,
again.
thank you, John Fink from the Four
Thank
Corner
you.
News Desk.
Thanks
We
for having me.
appreciate you.
Appreciate
Okay,
you
Man,
guys.
oh man. Very
Every
nice.
single time.
Yeah,
Every
fantastic.
single time, never fails to entertain or impress. It's John Fink. It's Four Corners. We do it every Tuesday. Okay, San Diego Strike Force tickets. Have we given those away?
We did. Yeah. You know what we should
Luke
do?
Bryan tickets.
Gone.
Gone.
Off the table. Yes.
They'll return
How about
tomorrow.
this one? Meat Eater live. Woo!
I'll be damned.
Tomorrow night,
tomorrow
Balboa
night.
Theater.
Go. You want to go? No, go.
No, you just making sure tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow night, Balboa Theaters. We're going to say Meat Eater Live is hitting the road again. This spring, join Stephen Ranella, the Meat Eater crew, and special guests for a fun night celebrating the outdoor lifestyle that is happening tomorrow night. Like we said, tickets and info at themeateater.com or caller number 7
Mhm.
right now. 877-767-4760 if you would like the tickets. Coming up,
Tell you what,
Padres historic night.
Dylan never ceases to amaze.
Woo!
Why? Why no
That's
boo?
laps for both of you. I'll talk about SDFatLoss.com. You both co-conspired on that
Okay,
one.
okay,
Lap,
yep,
all
yep,
three of you, get out.
Okay, wow. He wants it
Noodling looks
all to
like quite the
himself.
workout, but here's the deal. With SDFatLoss.com, you don't have to work out because on SDFatLoss.com, working out is actually discouraged. It's just old-fashioned dieting. It's the natural way to do things. Get on over to SDFatLoss.com today. Tell them that Big Rich, TD, and Fletch sent you. You're going to lose a tremendous amount of weight, and you're going to lose that weight without spending an extra $200 because right now they're giving you $200 off the program SDFatLoss.com was responsible for this show losing a combined 120 plus pounds. All of us down a tremendous amount of weight with SDFatLoss.com. All of us keeping that weight off. So get on over to SDFatLoss.com today. Tell them Big Rich, TD, and Fletch sent you, and you're going to get $200 off the program. SDFatLoss.com.
Keep up with San Diego Sports 760 anytime, anywhere. Whether you're stepping out of the car or settling in at home, just ask your Google or Alexa smart speaker to play San Diego Sports 760 or stream it live through the iHeartRadio app. It's never been easier to stay connected with your favorite shows like this one. San Diego Sports 760 goes where you go.
This update is presented by the Bank of America. We will start off here with the Padres, who take down the Rockies yesterday after an excellent starting performance from Dylan Cease. Some late inning heroics from pinch hitter Tyler Wade. He knocked in the go-ahead run. 3 more against the Rockies in Colorado. NBA playoffs, Lakers, they lose yesterday to the Nuggets. They're down 0-2 after a Jamal Murray buzzer beater led the Nuggets to a 101-99 win. Knicks took a 2-0 series lead with a 104-101 win over the Sixers. That was a wild game. Cavs, Orlando, a little less wild. Cavs win by 10. They take a 2-0 lead. NFL, Jets trade quarterback Zach Wilson to the Broncos, restoring TD's faith in humanity once again. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, NA, copyright 2024.
Yeah, see? 760 has your chances to win bonus box. Get $1,000 every day this week. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportsfg.com. Your next chance coming up at 9 o'clock.
This kind of sounds like the music. You remember the old guy who used to dance on the Six Flags commercials?
Yeah.
Really miss
There's a
that
little
guy.
bit of that.
I miss
See
him a
that
lot.
SNL skit where they had, like, some guy was dating the daughter who his dad or her dad was the Six Flags guy, like the whole family. All they did is dance every time they walked into the room in a tuxedo.
Just shenanigans.
Yeah.
Missed that one. Wish I didn't. And
Yeah.
miss you, Six Flags guy. I
Yeah.
know you're dead now.
Is he dead?
I'm sure, dude. He was ancient when those commercials were on.
But maybe it was just makeup.
Yeah, actually, I didn't think of that. Which, in my youth, maybe I overlooked the fact. No, dude,
No,
he was an
super old.
yeah, he's got to be. I mean,
Mr. Six?
wow.
I mean, okay. Let's see.
Okay, so anyways, for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, this was basically Jake from State Farm.
Right.
Before Jake from State Farm, they had Mr. Six, who did Six Flags commercials where it was an old man wearing a tuxedo with a red bow tie, and he would dance to like 1920s flapper music like you just heard there.
2004 to 2010, he was the spokesperson. On 2005, Dan Snyder, the Washington Commanders owner, took over Six Flags. The next day, he announced the retirement of the ad campaign.
Dan Snyder is the death of everything good. He also bought the then Redskins, now Commanders, and completely trashed that organization for about 20 years.
Wow. How come they don't say his name? Who played
Mr. Six.
Mr. Six?
Interesting.
Choreographer Danny Thiessen.
Danny Thiessen. Okay.
Okay.
Alive or dead? That's all I need to know.
He was
we're
only
trying-
born in the 70s.
We're trying to find out. That's the dude. It is the dude in makeup.
No friggin' way.
Still alive. He was born May 27, 1975. We can celebrate his birth here in just about a month.
What year were
Dude.
you born?
1979.
It's a good year.
It's a good year.
A good vintage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So Danny Thiessen still alive and kicking and dancing, I would assume.
He was Mr. Six. I feel like I have questions about this.
How did that song go? We
Mm.
can't play it on the air, but how'd that song? Is
I
that,
can't remember.
Why we can't play it on the air for sure?
for
I
sure.
will say this. The song, the tune that I hope Dylan Cease remembers is
Sorry, popped into my
That
head.
was it.
Horns.
We like to party.
So
That's
anyway,
the one.
you know what? That was probably on Dylan Cease's pump up mix yesterday. Can you imagine right before he takes the mound against the Rockies, like not until I hear Mr. Six.
That's his walk-up music.
Oh gosh.
When he walks out in a tuxedo, that he just like pulls one string and it all pops off.
It gets the people going.
They love it.
He was awesome yesterday.
dude.
It's cool when you see a pitcher really get in the zone when they have all their pitches working. And yesterday, the fastball placement was pretty much immaculate for Dylan Cease, and he kept the 98, 99 miles an hour all the way through all 7 innings. And then the slider is just devastating for people. So that's now back-to-back starts the Padres have had. Joe Musgrove, 7 innings against the Blue Jays. Dylan Cease, 7 innings at Coors Field against the Rockies.
He is the ace of the staff. And I jumped on this early weeks ago. I was saying it and I was like, well, I don't know if he is, but he's certainly looking like he could be. And now I can say it with certainty. Yu Darvish, 38 years old. injured last year toward the end of the season, already on the IL again. I know that you would typically, classically say, well, he would be relied on to be your ace pitcher, and that's true. But if Dylan Cease keeps pitching like this, I think we can learn to trust it, and he doesn't necessarily have to go anywhere. I mean, you could extend this guy. He could be a pitcher for, a longer haul here in San Diego if you're willing to do business with him now. He's got some track record. I'm probably getting way ahead of myself here. But I kind of felt that way when I was talking about him being the ace of the staff earlier this season. It just, if it works, it works. And it's really working right now, even though it's a short sample size.
You said you can learn to trust it. Do you trust it right now?
Well, yeah, I think right now, yeah, I do. Because every time he goes out there, it looks like it did the last outing. And again, it's not an out of nowhere season. You could explain away last year. I'm sure there are ways that we could, justify that he's more the pitcher we saw in 2022 rather than the pitcher that we saw in 2023. And certainly this year, first year with the Padres, he's off to a roaring start with this team.
Yeah, no, I agree. And even if he came out and had a bad outing, my gut would just be, it was a one-off.
Now, Dylan Cease in 2022, like you said, he was a runner-up for the Cy Young. Like, he was incredible. And even in 2023, his numbers were worse. However, he was still an innings eater. So it's like, that's what the Padres really needed when they traded for him. And it looks like they got a little more than they wanted. Next year, still under team control. It's arbitration 3 for him. So it's going to get a little more expensive. After that, he is an unrestricted free agent. But Rich, I don't disagree with you. I think they might try to find a way, and this would be very Peter Seidler of them, and I hope they do it, to somehow extend Dylan Cease. Now, we're saying this after a few starts with the Padres, but they're going to need pitching soon, ASAP, because Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish, they're not getting any younger.
Whoa, here he comes. Watch out, boys. He'll chew you up. Whoa, here she comes. He's an innings eater.
Wow.
I don't even think we have to say it.
I'll tell you that.
Really? It felt good.
The payoff. The payoff wasn't there on that one.
Golly. Fletch said it.
Yeah, it's a baseball term.
It's a Hall & Oates term.
He's so mad.
He's uncontrollable.
He loves 80s pop. He always has. Yeah, listen, Joe Musgrove, he's not an old man by any stretch. He's 31. Dylan Cease, he's definitely not an old man. He's young in this game. You could have Musgrove and Cease locked up for a stretch. Yu Darvish is transitioning out of a career. I mean, he's almost used up. No. We had moved on to Yu Darvish. But you could see that. You could start to see the future if there is one, and it could potentially be a bright one. Now, it makes me uneasy to look too far down the road because this window is open for the Padres.
You don't look down the road,
but
because these contracts, none of them are going to age well. Manny Machado's contract will not age well with the Padres. He's going to be in his 40s by the time it's over. Xander Bogaerts, same thing. Yu Darvish, same thing. They'll all be at least 42, I think, by the time their contracts are done with the Padres. And they'll still be here in 8 or 9 years from now. Like, that's the part of this that we can't really look to. The Padres, you have to think about right now. Like, this is their World Series window. And when you look at the team they had last year, that felt like a World Series team, at least on paper. When you look at the team this year, do you guys think it can win a World Series? I don't know.
I would, well, could it? I guess.
Could they? Yeah. Here's the thing. I felt more certain last season about them being able to win a World Series than I do this year. Mm-hmm. And I explained this in my morning monologue earlier. That's led me to enjoy the wins more and enjoy this season more, because if they were playing 500 or just a tick over 500 baseball at this time last year, I'd be like, what's wrong with the Padres? Meanwhile, they're playing 500 baseball, and I'm like, yeah, the Padres are performing just about the way I figured they would perform, at very least at this point in the season, if not kind of throughout.
Well, everything feels better if something is under promised and then they over deliver.
Oh, certainly.
I mean, it's just sweeter. Yeah. So that's where we're at right now, and It feels better.
Look, every Christmas or birthday where you got all, excited for a certain present and it wasn't under the tree, or you didn't get to unwrap it on your birthday, of course it soured your feelings on the day. But when you have less expectations, or you don't ask for anything in particular, and all of a sudden you're gifted something great, yeah, it does feel sweeter. I think that's the perfect way to describe it. And so I feel that way about the Padres this year. Dylan Cease, it's been an impressive start. When it comes to Yu Darvish, that's an impressive pitcher who could come back healthier from the stint on the IL and maybe do something. Musgrove, we've seen it in the past. Yeah, I mean,
what if they did the what was it? Was it Tommy? No, not Tommy. Who was the trumpet player that?
Oh, it was Tommy Trumpets.
no.
The Edwin Diaz was the pitcher.
Yeah, Edwin Diaz, but was it Tommy
I
Trumpets?
think it
Is
was
that
Tommy
who it was?
Trumpets.
No.
What could we get him just to do that song? That Dylan Cease walks out.
Yeah, that
But
would
like a full band.
Timmy Trumpet.
Timmy
yeah,
Trumpet.
there it is. There it
Yeah,
is.
I had Tommy Two Tone, and that's not the same. Although if Tommy Two Tone, if there was Tommy Two Tone night,
Coming
No,
up
it's not a
next,
porn
we
star.
have Bottom of the Barrel, where we will get into Tommy Two-Tone, his whereabouts currently. Also, we will tee up our giveaways for tomorrow. If you missed them today, got a lot of great tickets to give away tomorrow. So we'll fill you in on what those are next as I vamp for time to figure out what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. Want to talk to you about the San Diego Giving Back raffle. So this happens annually. This is a great opportunity for you and your family to give back to a community resource that gains you a chance to win great prizes, but also support the Ronald McDonald House, which is only 300 steps away from our children's hospital right here in San Diego. They provide overnight lodging, warm meals, and other programs and services to support families in need. If you got a kid in the hospital and you're from out of town, you need a place to stay, obviously, and that can get real expensive really fast. A lot of people, their lives, all of a sudden, in fact, a very close friend of this show had a situation just like this. Suddenly, their kid's sick. A day later, they're at the children's hospital, and then their world is turned upside down for weeks. And this doesn't just happen to people who live in San Diego and local. This could happen to somebody across the state in California, from a different state that requires specialist attention that's only available at the Children's Hospital here in San Diego. And the Ronald McDonald House is right there to help these families in a time of medical crisis. 2024 marks the 20th anniversary of the San Diego Giving Back raffle, benefiting Ronald McDonald House Charities of San Diego. This year's edition, more than 2,000 great prizes. 20 vacation options, 20 vehicle options, 20 days of $20,000 prizes this summer, leading up to the biggest prizes drawn on July 25th. Every raffle supporter guaranteed to win a prize in the grand prize drawing. So do it right now. Sign up over at the San Diego Giving Back raffle, $150 a ticket. It is the best money you'll spend. You'll get a prize and you'll give a great service to somebody in need. That's the San Diego Giving Back raffle. Strike Force, San Diego's indoor football league team. You're going to get a pair of tickets if you listen tomorrow. Also, Luke Bryan's coming to town in August. We're going to give you a pair of tickets to that show tomorrow, as well as an update on this Padres series in Colorado. Off to a promising start. First pitch today, 5:40. You know, I never even looked. Who's getting the ball today? Who's getting
Michael King.
I didn't hear you?
Can't hear you.
Michael King.
Oh, Michael King.
Oh, yeah,
Fresh
okay.
off the
There you go.
no-hit bid.
Yeah,
Right
that was an excellent outing for him in Milwaukee most recently. So excited to see Michael King toe the rubber in Colorado. We'll see if he could one up the impressive performance from Dylan Cease. Bottom of the barrel. What's up first? There was a Kimmy K article I saw.
Yeah. So Kim Kardashian and Taylor Swift feuding, mostly
Sure.
because Taylor Swift, when she released her secret album, I guess it was the Unexpected album. What's it called? The Dead Poets Society?
Dead Poets Department.
Yeah, that one.
Mhm.
There was a song on there called Thank You, Amy. It's all in lowercase letters except for a K, an I, and an M. So it's like a diss track to Kim.
And she's
like-
losing followers over this?
She lost 100,000 Instagram followers immediately following
Kim Kardashian or Taylor Swift?
Kim Kardashian.
So Taylor
Wow.
Swift calls Kim K a bully. She
Mhm.
loses 100. Dude, if Taylor Swift ran for president right now
She would win.
and her running mate was Jason Kelsey, and they were like, we're going to make out on the front lawn of the White
Well-
House, people would be like, we're voting queen.
With Jason or
Yes.
Travis?
Yeah, that'd be
Oh, sorry. Did I
weird.
say Jason?
He said Jason.
I
yeah.
meant Travis.
But Jason would also, I mean, like I'm more in with Jason.
If he ran for president, I'm pretty sure he's getting my vote. And you know what? Here's the deal. Depending on candidates, I might write him in anyways.
Listen, check this out, guys. There's a robot dog for sale.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
$9,420. You can have a robot dog, but not just any robot
It's a little
dog.
steep.
It's got a flamethrower on its back.
Never mind. I'm back in.
A 30-foot flame shoots out of the robot dog for $9,500.
Follow us on Snapchat. We're gonna have links to our GoFundMe for our $10,000 fundraiser. We're gonna buy a robot flamethrower. So
How great would that be just walking around the parking lot?
dude.
Why would you give a robot weapons?
Well, I mean,
We've
you've
seen the
seen
movies.
Terminator.
Yeah, Terminator, iRobot.
Oh, it's over.
We're getting to a point.
We
Yeah,
are
we're gonna.
hurtling towards disaster. Who
not
do we
good.
thank, Ben?
We thank John Fink. We thank the roadies, the dogs, the hangers, the bangers. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, TD. Coming up tomorrow, Kevin Acey going to be on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick, by the way.
Dude,
Thank you,
yeah.
Eric, out in Coronado.
Yeah, we love you all. We'll see you tomorrow. The Herd is next. Keep it right here.